Andrew is dead. Sorry, wait. Andrew is missing, folks. Sorry. Welcome into your Tuesday night show here on WCBS. And Aaron, I assume that was your notification bell to let everyone know that you're subscribed to WCBS's instant push notifications.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly what it was. It's not my phone ringing at all.
So, folks, make sure that you have your notifications turned on to all so you can have a pleasant chime follow you anywhere and everywhere that will let you know that it's time for some world-class content. But, folks, I'm your host, Jeff. You know me. I've been here for about a decade, but I'm not alone tonight. I have some wonderful co-hosts. First up, let's talk about, to the guy from the Great White North. You know him, you love him. Say hello to the Script Doctor.
Hey, everybody. Happy to be here tonight. I am going to miss Andrew, though, because I do like his diatribes here. But yeah, as I said on the green room, we should have a brief moment of silence in his absence. I think that's enough. And we'll get on to the next part.
Well, let's introduce our other co-host for the evening, the man who lives in the land that is governed by our future president. Say hello to Mr. Aaron Sparrow.
You know, I thought that Gavin Newsom had the worst gaffe this week until I saw Grace Randolph. So it's been an interesting interesting week, and it's funny to me because it's like nobody can just say like, hey, you know what? My words got away from me. I said something dumb, or, they can't say, it's like, obviously with Grace, she couldn't just come out and say, I clearly had no idea about Tourette's and I spoke out of turn. But you got to double down. You got to triple down. You got to quadruple down. And it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Remember, never trust a woman that doesn't know how to properly apply eye makeup herself.
She was doing that same makeup a good 16 years ago when I was working with her at Boom.
I believe it hasn't evolved since.
No, it has not changed.
Now, Aaron, for those in the back that do not know what's going on with Grace Randolph, give a little context for the audience so they can laugh with us. Because, folks, It's a story you're definitely going to want to hear about.
At the BAFTA Awards, there was a man who was up for an award who had been part of a documentary on Tourette's syndrome and his struggles in living with Tourette's. And for those of you who don't know, Tourette's is a neurological disorder where you have no filter, and your brain will make you say things that are intentionally offensive. That's part and parcel.
That's one aspect of it.
It's one aspect of it. Some people have it far worse. Some people have it far better. There's a lot of tics and things like that. I know a couple of people, not very well, but I've had a couple of people in my life who've had Tourette's. And I do follow a woman on Instagram who talks about Tourette's all the time and her struggle and like what it's like and how it goes. And so, this man yelled out some racial slurs when Jamie Foxx and Delroy Lindo were up on stage, apparently. And the BAFTAs decided not to bleep it. They decided not to cut that part out. They aired it. And probably to get people talking, get some viewers. I don't want to be cynical, but I'm thinking that could be part of the reason, because nobody cares about celebrity awards anymore.
And Warner Brothers did make the request to have that please censored out.
Mm-hmm. And they did not. So Grace, in her infinite wisdom, decided to attack the man and say that obviously those thoughts were in his heart, obviously, intimating that indicating that he is some sort of racist because those words came out of his mouth. That's not how Tourette's works, but that's how Grace decided to frame it. And then when she was rightfully called out by people talking about how, she's attacking a man with a disability, a neurological disorder. He says things that he can't control. It doesn't mean that that's his opinion or that's his feeling. It's just one of those things where it's, that's part of the disorder. When people started to point that out, instead of educating herself, Grace decided to double and triple down. And it's just gotten worse.
Yeah, so she made the assumption of the Hollywood interpretation of Tourette's as opposed to the actual version of this. And I know it pretty well because my best friend in college has Tourette's, but he doesn't have a language issue. He does like tics and twitches. Mm-hmm. And then my cousin also has Tourette's. He has part language and then part barking as part of his symptoms. But you can mitigate that with practice and with proper treatment and understanding and awareness over time. But it's not something that everybody can do. It takes a lot of hard work. And sometimes you try to force suppress it, ends up making the outbursts a lot more larger and more impactful or intense.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like if you've ever known anybody with Parkinson's, how they can't control their body, they can't control their trembling, and some days it's worse and some days it's better. it's like that, but neurologically. And it's an odd disease. I mean, it's something that I looked into because I was always just fascinated by the idea of, if you were not raised in an environment where you knew what words were considered offensive, what would you say? You know, what would the tics be? But you know, like you said, there's barking, there's noises. You know, I've seen people who, you know, they make chirping noises. They, you know, it's something that that comes out of them involuntarily.
Yep. Yeah. Until my cousin did learn swear words, he used to say cheese and crackers all the time. Just randomly.
Oh, look at Aaron. I was going to ask you, what were the people saying about Grace Randolph? But I decided to actually look it up, and I love that Grace Randolph is now a savior for all of Black humankind, according to Qaeda. So there we go, right there.
What she asks is that we stone people with Tourette's. You know, we stone them in the public square, which is, you know, apparently what it is that she tried to do. And, you know, it's like Grace and I are not friends. You know, I was certainly willing to be friends when I left Boom, but she's the one person when I was fired that did not reach out to me. You know, she,
wow.
You know, so like I had no, out of everybody in the talent pool, every writer, every artist, you know, every colorist, letterer, everybody I worked with reached out to see if I was okay, to find out what happened. She's the only one. I guess I couldn't do anything for her anymore, even though I tried repeatedly to get her work. Unfortunately, the Muppet team didn't, like, they tore her scripts to shreds, and I was trying to get her work with on the Pixar books at the time that I was let go.
Aaron, it's because Muppets shouldn't write Muppets. Okay, it's like cannibalism. Okay, this lady's a Muppet. She couldn't bring honesty to the work. It would just be a bunch of nonsense. So you spared the Muppet brand, my friend.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I like, you know, someone asked me, they said, like, you worked with her? Like, they asked me on Twitter, you worked with her? What was she like? And I was like, honestly, I liked her. I thought she was nice at the time. But this is before, you know, the kind of the liberal white woman mind virus that made them all feel the need to, you know, be the proxy for every minority struggle and make sure that they inject themselves into every possible situation, even ones that have nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
this is the best time.
I call it attention deficit disorder, because it's attention to get away from them that they're trying to fill up that deficit.
It's very much the meme, right? The cartoon of, like, you know, oh, let me speak for you, minority. You know, I will take up your struggle.
Aaron, I got an idea for a comic. I'm trying to come up with a name for it, but it's essentially it's the Lorax, Karen version of the Lorax. I speak for the people, and it would just be like every social situation where it's like, hey, there's a protest. Here comes the Lorax, where it's the Karen, where she just comes in and speaks for all the minorities. They just kind of look at her like, who's this bitch? And every time, I just want to make that comic. Help me come up with a name, man. Let's workshop it.
Well,
in Kneel Before Doomface, issue 2, we get our first look at the Social Justice League, who is trying to recapture their waning power. And there is no Grace analog in Kneel Before Doomface 2 in the Social Justice League, but maybe there should be.
Let's save it for a crossover.
You can call her like Lady Disgraceful, or if you want to go a bit on the nose there, or just do like an anagram of Karen.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. K-A-R-E. And just come up with, that would be brilliant. That should be a whole organization, though, right? Let's do that, Jeff. A whole organization called Karen will come up with an anagram, and whenever there is any kind of issue that is taking attention off of white liberal women, they have to send out one of their agents to make sure to redirect.
Yeah, they could be at odds with
A.A.R.N. Okay, there's our book. There's our first one, man.
They can be at odds with the Women's Homeowners and Renters Estate Society, otherwise known as the Whores. They're just a bunch of bored housewives that are snooping around the neighborhood causing trouble, and you know that they're at odds with Karens because you know they're all after the same level of attention. You know, to be the first.
When the Karens are confronted or challenged, they emit a sonic scream that's just a continuous
Yes, and then they go super Karen, in which case their hair turns like blue or pink or whatever color that they are feeling at that point.
Now let's give this future Karen in making. I guess she's already a Karen now. She's that age. Let's hear what she actually said, because folks, on WCBS, we like to let everyone hang themselves with their own rope. So here we go.
But there are certainly a lot of people online who are defending Mr. Davidson's right to say this word because they want to say it. And that's really
a straw man.
It's, you know, I mean, really take a hard look at anyone who's defending Mr. Davidson and ask why. But there are
because the man has Tourette's
online who are defending Mr. Davidson's right.
Yeah.
I'm defending the man because he literally cannot control what comes out of his mouth. That's why he's being defended. It's not because people are saying like everybody should be shouting the N-word at everybody all the time. Like that's not what anybody's saying. But when you're Grace and you can't just say, I spoke out of ignorance because this is a liberal white woman, there's no such thing as reason or accountability. You can't have that. So what you instead have to do is you have to try to reframe the argument and make it about, something else. Oh my God. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
You're the only one making sense right now.
See, so there's this fun definition that circulates around countries outside the United States. It's when you ever feel like you're at home, you're looking at the world through the news outlets, and that you are the only person that's sane and everybody else has gone crazy. And do you know what the term of that word used to be? It used to be known as being Canadian. Now it's completely off the rails right now. Because I look at Grace Randolph and I ask myself, how could a woman spend a whole week's worth of eyeliner in a single day?
It's a lot of eyeliner.
It's like she's almost wearing like a domino mask. It's just she just stopped at the top and then didn't complete it down underneath the.
She's the Nightman.
It was.
Yeah, somebody got that reference finally. I just love, I love the internet. I know there are times when I roll my eyes and go, God, the internet's annoying. Then there are moments like this where the internet is winning because this is a level of honesty that I love. I love to see Grace Randolph called on her shit. It's been years of her just spouting off these inane straw man arguments, these things where she is one of the voices that definitely creates the environment where crap like I hate to use this example because it's so tied to the channel, but like the Disney Star Wars stuff or these bad movies that are like full of the right message but are absolute dog shit. She is like the face of that era to me. And just for her to use her shtick today and to be called out on it, it goes to show that shtick is old and dead and we should just bury it. Like, I hope she goes away embarrassed.
I mean, she's not going anywhere. She was in on the
Let Me Dream.
YouTube. Yeah, she was in on YouTube from its inception. So she's got like a million subscribers or more. I think last time I bothered to listen to anybody talk about it. So she's done quite well, and she's basically a lol cow. A lot of people tune in just to see and laugh and what she's going to say. But I mean, even James Gunn said that there's certain things in life you can count on, and one of them is Grace Randolph saying things that are stupid.
Mm-hmm.
All right, James Gunn.
So it's one of those things, but it's like, if she followed me and I was able to message her, actually, I didn't even think about it. I probably, if she has the same phone number, I still
just call her right now.
Yeah, call her right now. You want to come on? You want to come on the show?
Yeah, here's a link. Follow.
I would have messaged her privately and said, just send her the Brian Fantana. Hey there, champ. Maybe stop talking for a while, because you're digging a grave that you can't get out of. You should have just said, you know what? I didn't really, know the nature of Tourette's. I thought I did. I've been educated on the subject by people who know. I apologize for what I said. I apologize for attacking this gentleman. It must be a very crippling thing to deal with, and I did not fully understand what it must be like to have that kind of disability.
She could probably relate to it because she has a form of pseudo Tourette's, given how much dumb stuff she has said. Of her career.
I mean, look, it's the internet. We're doing shows. We're trying to entertain. We've all said dumb stuff.
Absolutely.
I've said dumb stuff. I'll say dumb stuff again in the future.
Too.
But when you do it, and if you're wrong, you just say, "Oh, you know what? I got that one wrong." And people, there's always the people that hate you that'll try to like bring it up again and again and again. But the majority of the people will just be like, "Yeah, you know what? That makes sense," and they'll move on.
Yeah, I was wrong about Spider-Man, and I don't care. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah, shit happens on the internet all the time. We all, like you said, I'm not going to reiterate those points because I'm just falling into the line of, hey, I'm going to say some more dumb shit. But I wanted to talk about this on Thursday with the guys because Dion and I, we don't really have any kind of like predisposed angle on anything, but we always like to laugh at when people get offended on behalf of other people. And I just was going to wait till Thursday to roast this lady, but it's so dumb. Like, the whole situation's hilarious to me. Like, look, I get it. Tourette's is a medical issue. I'm not making fun of anybody for having Tourette's, but have you ever seen like clips of stuff and you're just like, oh, the timing's right? Like, I saw the clip and I'm just like, wow, okay, that couldn't have been like, it seemed fake almost, like there's humor in it. And I'm sorry if you get offended that something offensive is funny, but that's what humor is based on. And I'm glad somebody like Grace Randolph is offended, Good.
Well, Jeff, being that you're black, I mean, you get to speak from a position of authority on this, and you get to tell us if we can all laugh at it. Because remember, all you need in any racial situation is one member of that race to sign off on it, and then it's fair.
Hey, buddy, I will co-sign on anything. Just give me the contract right now. You get a pass, and you get a pass, and you all get passes. Now, look.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I do have a black friend card pass somewhere around here.
Well, now you get an American edition. It's slightly more valuable. I guess its weight is based on the dollar, the Canadian dollar ratio. We'll figure that out later off the show.
Oh yeah. It's 35 cents more profitable to use.
Yeah.
I remember when my friend Daphne told me I was allowed to make Jewish jokes because I was dating a Jew, so clearly I wasn't anti-Semitic.
I've been there. There was a minute in time where I was insulated
thing.
from making any kind of joke because I knew everybody. I was just like boom, 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 boom. But a lot of people I hung out with didn't have a good sense of humor, so the reason for that.
Oh, so they're boring people.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm friends with people from every walk of life. It's like I'm a Baron Munchausen type. We serve all kinds here.
You friends with the Ewoks? I'm not friends with the Ewoks.
I'm friends with Ewoks.
Droids are cool though.
I'm friends with everyone, even the most difficult demographic to ever make fun of, especially to the point where there's a government involved that says you can. That's the Quebecois people of Canada.
I said something at Wrecked West a few weeks ago. I said something about, I said, just parading around like some hirsute Quebecois. He was like, what? And he just like lost it.
Folks, if you're not watching Thinking Critical, you got to watch them when they're live on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But they broadcast from all over the world, and it's your weekly show for some of the best comic book opinions and takes, and you get to find out about what's coming out. So real quick, Aaron, what's the deal with that? Was it Orked and that other Whiteout or whatever those two comics are that are all of a sudden super valuable?
So I don't know about Whiteout, but I do know that Dork is by Brett Bean, and Brett Bean is really, really talented. Also super nice guy. Have sat next to him at numerous San Diego Comic Cons. Tad Stones, the creator of Darkwing, would come over and visit with us and then go over to talk to Brett and invariably knock down things on his display. So that was always fun to watch Tad almost destroy Brett's table. But apparently it's been going absolutely nuts and everybody's talking about it. And I'm glad to finally see Brett like with something like just knocking out of the park that that people enjoy. I remember he did a comic years ago. I can't remember what the name it was, but one of the villains in it was a monkey named Furious George, and so I've always appreciated Brett. Now, Neil, for Doomface, we're gonna have by Curious George, but
is he gonna look like George Michael?
Oh, you know what? That's a good. I had not thought it through.
That's
that
not
far.
much credit to do that. Actually,
maybe he'd be flattered.
Do you think Andrew knows that George Michael died?
I don't think if he knows who George Michael is.
Yeah, I'd be like, wham. Like, wham what? Like, why do you keep saying wham? Are you trying to go pal like in Step Brothers? That's what he would say. Wait, no. Does he know Step Brothers well enough to quote it? No.
I don't know. What
maybe
do you think?
maybe the movie Sideways. Because he's a wine guy.
Oh yeah, he would know. He should know Sideways.
Let's see. Let's check in with the audience. Folks, thank you for joining us tonight. A little unstructured, but I didn't want to go away from you guys. I know you love the Tuesday night, so thank you guys for tuning in, supporting the channel. Hit that thumbs up button, and be prepared for some new videos that we got dropping this week. Hope you've noticed the larger output here from WCBS because, well, I'm having a lot of fun making this stuff, and it looks like you guys are enjoying watching it. So thank you for joining us live now. Join us on Thursday for a fairly big video. And on Saturday, we're going to have another big one as well. What I'm trying to do is transition into some bigger, meatier videos beyond what's just going on like this. There'll be more of us. Nothing's really going away. Just make more time for us in your schedule. We're world class. Now, guys, we got a word of the day. It's a little early for 420, but that word of the day is bong. I almost said bang. Freddie got bonged. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Bong, a few bongs more. There will be bong and bong all the way.
Oh, well, then the Bong Brothers. I mean, obviously.
How about the Bong Dock Saints? It's a little stretch, but
How about Bong Trouble in Little China?
I would so watch that movie.
Bong Horizon, you know.
There we go. Apocalypse Bong.
I like. What about Bong Apocalypse now?
Bong Apocalypse now. That's better. Way better.
I don't know if that breaks any rules of the word of the day.
I'm glad my camera wasn't on there because I did it when I went Apocalypse Bong. I like stretched my arms out like I was presenting the title to you.
He's like,
I was like, oh wait, good. I'm not on camera.
Hot Bong Part 2.
Oh, hot tub bong machine.
That's a pretty good one. Let's see.
Bongkok Dangerous.
Postcards from the Bong.
That's a Carrie Fisher reference. I like that one.
Bong
I'm sure she had
Hand
many postcards from the bong.
She definitely had lots from the Bong.
I just love that she has a Coke nail in Return of the Jedi. Like
Yeah.
that's my favorite, like little Easter egg in any movie. Look
Yep.
closely, kids. There's her Coke.
I remember as a kid, like, I was like, why does she have one long nail? And I just never like thought about it. And then years later, I was like, oh.
You know, all those are getting like 4K super remasters. I'm gonna see her Coke nail in IMAX. Like that's what I'm paying $18 to go see a movie I've been watching on home video my entire life. Like 4K Coke nail. That's a terrible movie title. Shrubblezoid, don't make our word of the day ever like Coke nail. That'd be horrible.
We could still do it.
That's more of a challenge to him, as more than anything else. Not that I don't want to. Coke
Death
nail
rides
all the
a
way.
Coke nail. That's what it is. Death rides a Coke nail. There you go.
Guess who's coming to Coke now? Gunner,
3 days
thank you
from
very
the
much for your. Thank you
See,
for
we
your.
can do it.
You know, I'm very happy. This is a show that we just pulled out of nowhere, and it's going well. Thank you, folks. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Jamaram of Fortune and Jedi Must Seek My Fortune. Hold on. You said Jamaram. We got to give you the button. I haven't been able to press this in a long time, folks. Welcome back, a classic. Still might hold the title for my favorite button ever to grace a WCBS show. Jamaram! One more time. Jamaram!
I don't even know what that is.
That's me. That's my voice.
Uh-huh.
And Ram Jamaram was a character from Star Wars: The High Republic. It was
It has
also-
to be High Republic, yeah.
Yeah, it was Ram Jamaram and Slate, and they were all these terrible names, and I couldn't believe it was real. So that was the first button I ever made. Jamaram.
Sounds like a
Jamaram.
type of Creole food that would be used for lunch. It's like, can I have some extra Jamaram on that?
Yeah, po' boy and Jamaram. Now I'm hungry, dude. Stop. It's 9:30. I'm done eating for the day.
Black
let's
Betty,
see.
Jam-a-ram-a-ram. Black Betty, jam-a-ram-a-ram.
Like Betty had a child named Jamaram. We should, man. We're like 5 years too late. That train has sailed. We should have been into the
That
parody
train-
cover song.
I
What
like
movie is that from?
I'm not sure.
It's in Austin Powers when he's talking about Mrs. Kensington, when he's having that real emotional moment, and you're thinking like this is a serious monologue. He goes, "That train has sailed," and he doesn't even. There's no beat to stop on it.
It's just,
I love it. All right, so Jamaram of Fortune and Jedi Must Seek My Fortune. Thank you, Gunner. Gunner also says Grace got so many community notes, but kept digging.
Just kept going, kept tripling, quadrupling.
She's got to speak for. I want to be in a situation where Grace Randolph speaks for me, or speaks up for me, I should say. I would love to. I just want to know what that feels like, so then I can just tell her ass off directly.
you don't speak for me.
Yeah.
Listen,
Listen,
she's going
lady.
to come out and she's going to say that, like, hey, she had to speak up for the Black community. She's just like them, she's got 960 on her SATs, she can't read.
doesn't know how to use a computer.
Doesn't even know the word computer.
Has no ID.
You can hear the fire alarm beeping in the background when she's recording her videos. Oh,
is she really in a high-rise building, or is that a green screen?
Well, at the time that I worked with her, it was said that that her daddy was pretty rich. So
oh, that's how these people exist. Not that they're talented, not that they can make it on their own, because they have a rich parent to back them.
You can rely on the old man's money. You can rely on the old
Hall &
man's
Oates.
money.
Actually,
She's
that
a
song
bitch,
is about
girl.
Will Arnett, oddly enough.
Speaking of Will Arnett, I was waiting for Gavin Newsom to bust out the Franklin puppet this week and start singing, "It ain't easy being white, it ain't easy being brown."
Is that where that damn meme of him with like watermelon and shit is popping up from?
Yeah, because he tried to identify with a black audience by saying, "I'm just like you. I have low SATs and I can't read."
Wait, did he actually say that?
Yes.
Oh my god!
I mean, technically, that makes him dumber than the dumbest person in America for even saying that. So
Wait.
he can't relate to black people.
So I'm overly qualified for being the governor of California because I didn't.
Oh,
suck on
listen,
the
once
SAT?
Yes.
once the state elected Gavin Newsom, I mean, Jamaram is eligible to be governor of California, and that's
Yes.
a fictional character.
Could Buffalo Jeff run for governor of California?
I
Yeah.
wish he would.
Again, there's legally no limitations for anyone to run for public office in the United States. I mean, that's
Yeah,
how
he's-
free your country is. So yes, go ahead, Jeff, run for governor of California. You'd probably
Yeah, from
win a-
Cincinnati.
Yeah, listen, you don't even have to be a citizen of the United States to get elected in some states.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger was technically kind of a citizen, but not at the same level.
No,
he
but we
still
have
lived the law.
illegal aliens that have been busted by ICE in the last year that were holding public office.
Mhm.
Oh shit! Now, can I break some rules by being elected in multiple states at the same time? Because that'd be the most American thing ever.
I think the only rule that we technically have is that you have to live in the state in order to be governor.
You have to declare
Okay.
a primary address.
Yeah, you have to have your primary address, which is what tripped up Eric Swalwell, is that he has no address in California and didn't have one in time to run for governor, even though he was claiming he was going to. So,
What about this? What if I go to the Four Corners and I just put residency in all four corners? Therefore, I have a home in every state. Then can I run
if
all
you
four
spend
states?
equal time, if you divide it up into quarters,
I
and you
will
spend
never
equal
leave the
time
home.
in each home, like how does that? Can you technically say, well, they're all my primary residence?
Yeah, I can't leave.
Yeah, because anytime you move out in either direction, you would be already dominant to that specific state.
So I'm the governor on Zoom only, so I can rule all these states.
Everything has to be brought to you.
Yeah. Nobody ever questions, why don't we just leave this guy alone? I'm the powerless one, but I guess I have a good message. Anyway,
That would make for a good gag in like a television show or comic. Like someone just decides to set up shop, like a home right there at the four states. And he's like, I ran for office in all four, thinking I'd only get one, but I won all four. And now I'm stuck here.
I'm going to turn that into a bit.
I'm the governor of all four states. I am under an incredible amount of stress. Although,
New
you know,
Mexico?
if you're running California, you're not under a tremendous amount of stress because we've had a governor who has just run it into the ground and is always too busy tweeting or going to to Davos or running across the country on his book tour that I'm sure we're paying for.
And his
getting
podcast.
crowds, and his podcast, getting crowds that I'm sure we're paying for their attendance. Just like we're paying for the protesters in California. That's coming out of taxpayer money. There's all kinds of there's no end to the corruption that you can get away with as a California Democrat governor.
The best part is that we live in a world where the Terminator was a better politician than a politician. Like,
Yeah. And he was
Wow.
weak. He was
Yep.
so weak.
He was desperate, also trying to get tourism to pick back up in California, and it just didn't work. It's just
Well, under Gavin Newsom, it's like, come to California, get stabbed by a hobo.
Ooh, that sounds
that's the
spicy.
pitch. Yeah, that's the pitch for tourism now.
Drinking
You
the
go into any
culture,
of the
get
cities-
stabbed.
you want to go to San Francisco, you're either going to have a meth zombie spit AIDS into your mouth or try to stab you. You're definitely getting your car broken into the moment you get out of it. You might still be in it while they're breaking into it. Los Angeles, same problem. Any of our blue cities are just complete shitholes.
Well, I was just surprised that Gavin Newsom didn't say, hey, if you want to experience Oakland with a lot less black people, go to anywhere else that he's ever held office. Because it's just that horrible neighborhood where some sort of horrible crime is going to happen, and it's going to be done by a diverse group of people, some domestic, some imported. But again, you won't feel as racist because it's not in Oakland.
Well, and then you run into those people who are like, yeah, sure, like you can't leave your car unattended for 5 minutes, and your house will get broken into, and your daughters might be assaulted on the streets. But have you ever had an authentic street taco? Oh, I guess it's all worth it now.
Taco El Pastor. Oh, yeah.
By the way, there's plenty of legal residents that make authentic street tacos.
Yeah. Look, we live in the worst timeline. So Biff is corrupt, powerful, and married to your mother. So folks, join us on Tuesday so we can kiss normalcy goodbye. Each and every week, we laugh the pain away. So Overkill161, thank you for being a member for 4 months. Also, Gunnar, thank you for being a member for 18 months. You are greatly appreciated as well. But our friend Overkill says, so many managers cried out in horror and were suddenly seen. Oh, the plight of the Karen. I'm the Karen. I speak for the colored people. That's her line. That's her fucking line.
Speak to your manager later.
Yeah, I'll speak to your manager later.
It's a shame because it's like I feel like at one point there was some hope for Grace, but the lure of internet celebrity and of the quick shill dollar, it's a corrupting influence.
I've seen it destroy many great people.
Yep, same here. Or, yeah, I'll just leave it like that. I was writing down the Karens and the colored people and the managers because that was actually a good line.
Taking all these notes. Yep.
Yeah. Because Aaron, I think what we need to do is figure out the logistics and legality and just create like this other universe, the offensive verse or whatever the hell. That's a terrible name, but we'll come up with an actual name, and it would be like this and that and that. We just have all these like very silly, on the nose, socially aware, lampoon characters. I think that could be
it's it's like our own amalgam universe. It's like you own Wokebusters and I own Doomface, but there's the amalgam portion that we both have it's a sandbox that we can both play in.
Yeah, we probably do our best work in that sandbox, and we're just like, all right, cool. Well, we created something awesome. Yeah, I think we should do that. I think the audience would like going on that journey with us. I feel like they're part of the workshop every week, so they love when these books come out.
Yeah, we're always throwing ideas out at them.
Yeah, folks in the chat, enjoy it. We always got more coming your way. But our friend Shrebbles08 has a request for a button. That button is very topical. Love it. One more time.
I didn't even know you had that button.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the okay, so it is the 9th button on here, which means she must have done something stupid in 2020 that got her a button on the show. Because the first buttons are very like of their time. Like this one.
You got knocked the fuck out, man!
Like, we don't talk about Captain Marvel because she's irrelevant. But there is a trip down memory lane, folks. There you go. Remember the good times before the, 2020? Fuck it. But Shrebbles08, thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed your Grace button. Laden Swallow 09, thank you very much. I have an early morning tomorrow, but at least I can watch the archive. In the meantime, I'll take a Hulkamania heavily, brother. Please, I'd say Triple H, but that means something else different. You got that, man. So you will be watching in the future. Hopefully you are in a comfortable, fun place to watch your favorite button right here.
Oh my god, I almost started hyperventilating watching that.
There's a Macho Man one too, where he's just like, it's even better. I'm of the mindset that while Hulk Hogan might be the biggest star of the 1980s, Macho Man was the best one of the 1980s because he was just better than Hogan at everything. Better promos, better matches, better presence. Hulk Hogan was a meatball. Macho Man had style.
He also had like the most alluring impersonation you could do of him. Like you knew exactly who it was when you're impersonating Macho Man Randy Savage.
That man sold a lot of Slim Jims.
You just helped, and still does to this day, because he's still the official mascot of Slim Jim.
I love that.
You just gave me an idea for the con I got coming up. Script, thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. Sorry, folks. This is Workshop, the podcast. All right. So we are all caught up on the messages. Thank you guys for the support. We have more people rolling. And hit that thumbs up button, folks, to let YouTube know that you enjoy this content. It makes us feel warm and fuzzy. But honestly, the metrics of growth have changed on YouTube, and we definitely need your support. So if you wouldn't mind digging deep by flipping your phone over or going down on your TV remote button and pressing the like. Don't go down on your remote, by the way. I just realized how bad it sounded.
Phrasing.
I don't care. It's fun. Go down. I don't care what you do. I don't judge.
You know what? Yeah, we're not kink shaming here. It's your business.
Unless that's your kink, then you're weird. No, we have dumb shit we talk about. We got more bongs in the chat, like 7 bonger eye. I like that one. Dude, the bonger eye is like Jay and Silent Bob should fight the bonger eye. It's like the Urukai, but
let's not bring back Jay and Silent Bob. Marvel's already doing that this year, and it's like, it's the best idea 2006 has to offer.
Oh boy,
Marvel's just doing it 20 years too late.
I agree that it is past its prime, but I do have a soft spot for Jay and Silent Bob. I'm not embarrassed. I bought Dogma on 4K. I still watch those classic movies. But they've lost their luster. The new ones, they're just not that funny. So,
oh yeah, the reboot one was a nice swing for the fences, but it just didn't land. And Clerks 3, very sentimental, great ending, but it's definitely a curtain call essentially on that world.
My only complaint is that his movies look cheaper and the acting is worse, like across the board. I mean, back in the 90s, they weren't like these Oscar-winning films, but they had Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in them. Like, they didn't have nobody actors, and they had already won an Oscar for Good Will Hunting. Even like the B-list, the supporting cast were people like Janine Garofalo or Alan Rickman. Like he's a huge named actor, classically trained. But then Kevin Smith just, after he had the heart attack and got high, he just cast anybody, and like their acting is so dumb that the movies are like parodies of themselves in not a good way. And so I can't watch them with any kind of lens besides this is shit. But
well, he became a schmaltzy, shill. And that hurt his rep because, it hurt his rep with the fan base, and the idea that Marvel's doing a book with him now as if he has any relevance in the nerd sphere anymore. He hasn't had that even before he lied about Masters of the Universe and attacked Clownfish TV. His relevance is gone. It's over, and all the guys that are like the hangers on, the guys on the, I don't know what's that podcast. People put ants. People put ants in their bio to like indicate that they listen to it or whatever.
Okay. I can't remember. I thought he had like the View Askew thing, or
occasionally has that.
The Fat Man podcast. Yeah.
The one that
the Smodcast.
Oh, Smod.
It's occasionally got that scumbag Chris Lodondo on it. It's like
I think that's a Smodcast, but no, Kevin Smith. After he suffered his heart attack, he went through something I've seen through a lot of people that had suffered a heart attack, where they're just so grateful to be alive that everything's a yes to them. There's no scrutiny on things anymore. It's just, I'm so happy to be alive. I'm just going to appreciate everything around me and everything that I do, and that is the worst thing you can have for an artist.
It's true.
Like, an artist has to be very judgmental of themselves. Yeah.
you want to live your life that way, I say great. Like, you want to be more appreciative. Certainly think that's fantastic. But yeah, as an artist, like you can't do that. You can't just be like, everything's wonderful, everything's great, everything that comes out. People worked hard on it. So I'm not going to say anything negative about it, or I'm not going to critique it in any way. You go down the Chris Stuckman route that way, and
oh yeah.
It's no place to be if you want to be taken seriously, or if you want to like actually review things or talk about things. You have to be able to engage with the critical. And even as an artist, even as a writer, even as whatever it is that you're doing, you have to be willing to take criticism. And if you can't do that, you're in the wrong business. Because anytime you present something to the world, you're going to have people that love it, you're going to have people that hate it, and both of them will probably have some pretty valid reasons, at least some of them. So you have to be able to absorb that. You have to have a little bit of a thicker skin.
Well, yeah, the entertainment industry is mostly rejection. Like 99% of the time is people telling you no. And then you get that 1% and you just feel, number one, really happy. And then you're like, are they messing with me? And then you have to wait until you realize, oh, no, they're serious. And then it debuts. And then you go through that process all over again. Audiences love it or audiences hate it. And in the vast majority of cases, when they're not trying to be a troll on you, they're 100% right with their opinions.
Mm-hmm. And it's it's one of the reasons that so many actors are narcissists, is because that you kind of have to be, because you have to face constant rejection until you break in. Not everybody gets that silver spoon like kind of handed to them. There are cases of that, but there's Nepo babies and things like that just automatically get in. But the ones that are like waiting on your tables and have a script in their pocket and are trying to, get seen and get noticed and, going out for commercial auditions and things like that, they have to face rejection all the time. So you have to have, it's why actors a lot of times are both raging narcissists and cripplingly insecure at the same time.
And then on top of that, you also have the attitude of like, no one publicly can say a bad thing about anybody, because you never know if that person is going to be your next opportunity for a job, or if that person is going to need your help for a job, because it's always kind of like, helping each other out of like respect for the commitment to the industry, but also to the same time is like, you never know what type of opportunity paying that forward will lead to another person, which is why so many people can kind of fail upwards or fail laterally, because you never know what position they're going to be in the future that might end up saving your butt in a hard time.
Yeah, I'm somebody who like never, obviously there's people I like, there's people I don't like, but I don't really, and there's people that like, I'm like, I particularly don't like them because of thus and so, but I don't really hold grudges. Like there's people who've done horrible things to me in my life and have treated me terribly, but they're talented. And if I had something that they would fit in and they would do a good job in, and they are the best person that I could think of for that job, I would offer it to them, because I don't carry that around with me. It's like, look, you suck and I don't really like you, but you're good at the job. Jim Shooter used to talk about that at Marvel Comics. There was a Christmas party where I can't remember who it was, but they were saying that like they were walking around with Shooter handing out the bonus checks. And they went up to one creator and Jim thanked him for his hard work and said, here's your Christmas bonus. And, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to working with you in the new year. And they walked away. And the guy was like, why did you say that to him? Like you hate that guy. And Jim was like, I hate him personally, but everything I said to him was true. I do look forward to working with him in the new year. He makes us money.
Was he talking about John Byrne?
It was probably John Byrne.
like
every story about somebody like not liking a creator in the 80s seemed to be John Byrne.
Well, he sounded like a raging boner. So like nobody liked the guy. He sounded terrible to deal with. So
I heard rumors of unreliability among him. Like that was one of the things that people.
So I met Jim Shooter right before he died. So this was last March, and he was talking. I told this story on the show before, and I named the name, but he told me about specific people not being able to meet their deadlines. And I was like, sorry, I didn't get the name. He goes, I didn't give it. And then he just gave it right away and then just told me the rest of the story. But he was not shy about that. Like, because people would bitch like, I'm not getting enough work. And he would say like, it's because you're not delivering on time and you're not doing the right work. Like if you can consistently deliver that book, then you can get more books type of shit. Mm-hmm. So it was a fun discussion, but
I can imagine that's, and that's completely fair. It's like, you've got to, what is the thing? It's like, you have to be responsible with what you've been given before you're given more.
Yep.
Aaron, when we hang out, we'll probably get into long discussions about comic book lore and who created what. Because I always like to have those discussions.
I have so many stories just from my time in the industry that, like, it's and I'm not shy about it either. Like I'm like a shooter. I'll tell you exactly who said what and who did what, and and I don't worry about people getting mad at me and it costing me work, because I don't want to work at I don't have any interest in working at the big two. But also, anybody who ever comes up to me and says, I didn't like what you said about me, I'll have a discussion about it with them, tell them why I said it. And if they convince me that I'm wrong, I'll apologize to them and make a public retraction. But, that's just what you have to do. You don't triple and quadruple down, Grace. You gotta sometimes say, I really, that was a huge boner.
That's the word of the day.
That's right. The word of the day is boner. We've switched it up.
Yeah, we're taking.
You've seen the old Joker thing, right?
Yep.
Like,
the greatest boner of all time.
The Joker's always pulling boners.
Hold on, I gotta pull that up for the audience so they don't think we're just lying to them, so we can say the word boner on repeat or some.
There's a newspaper. Shit. It's a Batman comic. There's a newspaper that says "chortle at Joker's boner," because boners used to mean a screw up or a mistake. That's why on Growing Pains his friend was named Boner. It wasn't because he was walking around with a stiffy all the time. It was because he was, he was always messing stuff up. So it's chortle at Joker's boner, and then the boners all laugh at my boner, will they? I'll show them how many boners the Joker can make.
And yet, that still works in context.
Here you go, folks. Instead of Grace Randolph's face, you can look at the Joker's.
You can chortle at Joker's boner.
Oh my God! This image is titled "Boner Banner." Oh, there we go. There's chortle at Joker's boner, guys.
Wait! I'm gonna read it verbatim. Let's see. So they laugh at my boner, will they? I'll show them. I'll show them how many boners the Joker can make.
If that was written in the late 90s, you would then follow it up with Harley.
Yeah.
Get in here, Harley. We're going to make some boners.
I may or may not have just taken a timestamp so I can turn that into a clip.
Is that as good as what is it? As Fisto from He-Man? Saying
I fist very well or whatever.
I fisted hard, He-Man, but I could not fist them all.
I guess we're making Michael in the chat laughing pretty hard. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. Hopefully you're having a good time laughing at the Joker's boner.
There's also the famous Archie cover where he's bringing Betty out of the water, and there's 3 guys with black eyes that are back in the water, and she's like, did you have any trouble saving me, Archie? And he's like, you bet I did. I had to beat off 3 other guys. Yeah, I got it right here. Actually, should I pull it up, chat? You guys want to see Archie beating off 3?
Hold on. Oh my God, this came across my newsfeed today. In what is going on, man? It's like everything's connected all of a sudden. There we go. Betty and Me from September of whatever year it was published. Archie, did you have any trouble rescuing me? I sure did. I had to beat up 3 other guys. I thought without Andrew it would be like a more mature show because we're talking about stuff.
Far
it's
worse. Far
I
worse.
love it. The best thing is we've had more people watching now than we have in a minute, and they come into the word boner. So there you go, folks.
Come on in. They laugh at Joker's boner while Archie beats off 3 other guys.
Those were vintage comics, folks. So this kind of dialogue makes me chuckle to there's no limit on how funny I find this shit. That and like old Aunt May dialogue. It's just so cringy and terrible. So, she's a hip cat, Pussy Willow.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, did you see that Robert Carradine passed away today?
I did.
Yeah. Does that mean there's like only one Carradine left?
Keith, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, famous Carradine. There's got to be other Carradines, right? They've had kids and things like that. Just the last famous one, maybe? Is Keith?
No, it's just he's the last living Carradine. Like, that's our next book, Aaron. The Last Carradine.
Oh,
it's like the last Ronin, but way bougier.
Actually, I mean, you could just draw from every Carradine role there ever was. He's Kung Fu. FBI
yeah,
agent named
Bill.
Dexter. A nerd.
It's sad. It's sad. I saw that, and then I saw that Martin Short's daughter was like she's only 42. She committed suicide.
Oh
that was
yeah,
tragic.
that was sad too.
I don't know how it's really hard for me to comprehend how a person can get to that point, especially someone like her who I've crossed paths with a few times, and she was always really lovely and funny.
As someone who's been there, who's been standing on the bridge looking down at one point in my life, I can tell you that you are not in your right mind. At least I wasn't. When you get there, you're not thinking about all that you can think about is that you want the pain to end.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not thinking about the pain that you're going to cause others. It doesn't even register. It's you are, like I think that when you get to this point of just such profound despair that you're willing to take your own life, that you don't feel anything else. You are just consumed by that. Unfortunately, that was a long time ago, and way past that. Especially now when you look at all the wonderful things that have happened to me since that, that I wouldn't have got to experience, people that I wouldn't have got to meet, places I wouldn't have got to go, if I would have made that call. It really is just like reach out, if any of you in the chat, if you ever, if you're feeling that or you're feeling it coming on, or, you just feel like that level of despair, there are people who care about you. There are people who will miss you, even if you don't think that there are. Just reach out and get some help.
Yeah, we're here for you, folks. Seriously, like, get the help, chat, talk to people. Aaron, I'm glad you're here, man. You're one of the most accomplished people I know. I love your stories.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, seriously, it's like we'll joke about something. Oh, so and so that's related to the story. It's like, oh yeah, I know the guy that created the show or this and that. So I'm just saying, man,
it is weird. It is weird that I've had the opportunity to meet and interact with so many people that I never would have thought that I would have the opportunity to do so, and people that I idolized and I've been very lucky in a lot of the heroes that I've met. We were talking about Tad Stones a little bit earlier, and someone was saying he seemed like he'd be a cool guy to chat with, and he is. He's a fascinating guy to talk to. Him, Greg Weisman, all these people that I grew up watching their shows, and was super excited to meet them, and they turned out to be great to deal with and great to interact with. So you don't always meet your heroes and have them turn out to be jerks.
Yeah, but when you do, it's worth it. It shows that you have great judging character and that great value in what they put out there.
I'm trying to decide if there's anybody who I met that I was like, that guy's an asshole.
That was just CM Punk for me.
Really, he was cool to me.
Yeah. I didn't even say anything to the guy before anything happened. I was like, wait, what?
I always give people it's like I always do one or two, I try to give people, because you never know what somebody's got going on that day,
well, like I've always said, it was at a WrestleMania meet and greet. He was nice to the people in front of us and my friend that was with me and the people behind me. It was just me he wasn't nice to. I was like, oh.
So I think he thought you were The Rock.
Yeah, no.
He thought you were Dwayne.
Hey, this is before he ever had the job to him. So he hadn't even been a world champion yet. This is Straight Edge Society 2010 CM Punk.
I wonder if he thought you were someone else, because I have a friend who every time he goes to the butcher, he says the butcher lady will be nice to everybody except for him. And he's like, I have never had a negative interaction with her that I can remember. And he goes, so it's got to be she thinks I'm somebody else. It's got to be, right? And I'm like, either that or she just doesn't like your face. She's just like, no, not him.
Just as long as you keep those butcher knives away from me, we'll be good, lady.
Just give me my ribeyes and let me go.
There are two other people that look like me, because I've had people come up to me and say like, oh, I was talking to your brother about this. I'm like, I don't have a brother. And it's happened a lot. So, because the thing is, like, people say I look like so-and-so a lot. Like when I met Jennifer from Back to the Future, she said I look like Vincent D'Onofrio. I've never seen it.
I can see it when he was a young man. I can definitely see it.
All right. Well,
that's not like D'Onofrio now.
Yeah, not now.
He was in the same room with us when she told me that, and I looked over at him. I'm like, oh God, I hope that's not my future. But D'Onofrio is a great actor. I just don't want to look like. I don't think I look like him. So people have said Vince Vaughn. I can get that one, even though I don't think I look like Vince Vaughn at all. But whatever, I'll take it.
You definitely don't look tired enough to be Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, like
well,
yeah, like swingers Vince Vaughn, maybe, is what you want to shoot for.
I'll put some maple syrup in my hair. We're good to go. Good to go. No, yes, R.I.P. to Revenge of the Nerds. Oh, one thing I will say, Aaron, before we move on to anything else, is the comic book legends that I've met have all been awesome. Those are the ones that matter to me more, that they're not like arrogant. So like I'm happy about that. Like Marv Wolfman was cool. A lot of the artists were cool.
Even guys that are dicks online, I've found are pretty nice in person. And it may just be that, in person you'll get punched if you act the way that you do online. But it's like, for example, Rob Liefeld can be a real prick online, nice guy in person. Eric Larson, super prick online, nice in person.
He's the only artist I ever had to unfollow because I was like, wow, man, I don't want your politics. I just show me Savage Dragon.
There's people that are consumed. There's people that are just like, that become consumed by that. And I find that it's people that don't have any other solid belief system in life. They don't have they don't have any kind of like moral center. So politics becomes their moral center. It's
that's actually
I find it a
gaping hole in creativity too. Cause like if you can't either follow an existing moral framework or develop your own, and you have to then supplant it with, something like politics, then it's kind of showing that you kind of have a big hole in your area of creativity and soul. Sorry to interrupt there, Aaron.
No, I'm thinking about it because, I never, like I saw somebody say in regards to this Tourette's situation that we were discussing earlier. Someone said in regards to the guy, the person that's ignorant about, the nature of Tourette's, said that if I had Tourette's, I'd be saying things like trans rights and Black Lives Matter because I'm a effing good person. And I was like, I don't think I've ever referred to myself as a good person. I don't think I think of myself that way. I think of myself as an extremely flawed person. I try to be nice. I endeavor to be kind, but I don't think of myself as necessarily being good. And I don't really think of anyone as being inherently good. I think there's people that strive for it. Yeah. And, and I enjoy those people more than I enjoy the people that, say things like, maybe I just need to break bad right now. It's like, you're just making an excuse for your terrible behavior because you recognize that it's terrible and you don't want to change, and I don't respect that. But, I will always respect the people that endeavor to be good. And I think there's people that are genuinely nicer than other people.
Well, usually the nicest people are the ones that can commit the most horrible things if they so choose, but they choose not to because it's far more rewarding to be nice.
It's people who understand the potential that they have for evil and choose the other path.
Yeah.
They know that they know the power that they hold. They know the power they have to hurt people or to say something mean or to, and they hold back. It's like a martial arts discipline, right? Like the more martial arts you learn, the less you should have to use it because it comes with a tempered patience and, that comes along with it. That's from G.I. Joe.
That was also the theme of the Power Rangers.
Yeah, I remember Storm Shadow saying that to Billy when they were walking down the street, and these guys were trying to like make them pay to go down the street, and they both just held their ground but didn't say anything. And then the guys like looked into their eyes and got freaked out and were like, "Oh, never mind, man," and like took off. And Storm Shadow said, "You just learned the most valuable lesson. The more you master violence, the less you have to use it."
I thought I was to say something else.
The more bonus you pull, the more you can. That's what Archie was doing out in the water. He was pulling boners.
Wait, they got black eyes from that? Damn. What a fucking...
like an aneurysm.
Well, they were seeing stars afterwards, so it was good.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, he did it for Betty, right? So I guess that makes it noble? No.
I mean, he's also taking her out of the water, too, because, there's pretty disgusting nearby.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, that's true. Hey, chat. Let us know if you're pro Betty or pro Veronica. Let us know which side you're on.
So Betty's the blonde, Veronica's the dark-haired one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know their personality difference, but I'll take the dark-haired one.
Now, see, I would be with you because I prefer brunettes, but
Same.
Veronica Lodge is a rich snob, and Betty is.
Oh, I've never read the book, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Betty's got the heart of gold, and she probably puts out a lot easier. But yeah, she's a blonde.
Okay, I'll go with her then. Easy to get along with, man.
Veronica's the one you're pursuing, and you're just like getting destroyed again and again and again. And meanwhile, Betty's there waiting, and you're too stupid to realize it. And then one day you wake up and you go, "What the hell?" It's like in Spider-Man 2, the girl that keeps bringing food over to Peter and has the crush on him,
Ursula.
but he's still pining after Mary Jane and her big bag of bullshit.
If I was Spider-Man, I would have just probably stuck with her because, look, the lady hasn't aged well, but at the time, she at least loved Peter Parker as is. She made him chocolate cake.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Jane would have brought, like you said, a big bag of bullshit. Then again, Spider-Man 3 is so poorly written, I can't even watch that movie.
You know who gets really screwed is poor John Jameson.
Yeah, he's just like a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He's an astronaut. He probably thinks like, "Hey, I've really got it going on. I'm succeeding, and I got this girl that's gonna marry me that I love." And then he gets left at the wedding, and his dad's like, "Oh, shoot, save some money."
Tell him not to open the caviar.
Send that back.
God, that is, folks. I think I've been quoted on this channel as saying that Spider-Man 2 is my favorite superhero movie. Yes, but I think I officially have to put Batman 89 on that same level because I recently got the 4K and sat down to watch it. I was like, I'm just going to check out the picture quality of one scene. I watched the whole damn movie. That movie, I don't know. That movie gets me into the story more than any of the Spider-Man movies. Even though I still like Spider-Man the most, I think I can say I'm changing that on my personal superhero list. That being said, does Batman 89 hold a spot near and dear to your heart, guys, or just it's okay?
No, love that movie. And you know what I'm reminded of in our Archie discussion? That they tried to do an Archie TV show back in maybe the early 90s, maybe it was, or maybe it was the late 80s. But it was like they were older. They weren't in high school anymore.
You talking about the cartoon show?
No, I'm not talking about the cartoon show. I'm talking about the live action show. And Lauren Holly played Betty on that. And that is a case where I said, like, normally I'm a brunette guy, but if we're talking Lauren Holly, that's the one I would have gone for over.
Oh yeah, her and Tracy Scoggins had the best bodies in Hollywood at that time.
I remember when she was in Ford Fairlane. She was in Ford Fairlane, and I was like, this girl is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one where she comes in the bikini with the Game Boy and the chocolate cake?
Picket Fences.
Okay, a TV show that I've never watched.
Yeah, me either, but I know that meme.
Yeah, I mean, I need to know the context of that because she looks great in that, and in Dumb and Dumber. I love that movie.
Yep. Jim also Carrey in that Down Periscope, she's great in that.
That's a good movie, man, that nobody remembers. Kelsey Grammer,
it's a great War Games film.
Rob Schneider.
Yep, Rob Schneider, Kelsey Grammer. It's got a whole bunch of comedians in there, and then a bunch of my friends like to make fun of Patton Oswalt because his part was mostly cut from that film, and he's just got this one shot in the movie. That's
I mean, Patton Oswalt's scene should be cut from pretty much every film.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yes. Can we retroactively just go back and use AI to take him out of anything he's ever been in and replace his voice with
Carl
Candy. Weathers? John Candy. There you go.
Yeah, the only thing I can stand him in is Ratatouille, is because I don't have to look at him.
I'm tired of his voice. Like, I love the show The Goldbergs, but he's the voice of the show, and I'm just like, God, man.
Yeah,
somebody cooler.
So I'll tell you a story that I don't know if I'm supposed to tell, but who cares? These people don't talk.
Exactly.
DuckTales 2017. The role of Darkwing Duck was offered to Patton Oswalt. Now, why you wouldn't just give it to Jim Cummings, considering that he is the voice of Darkwing Duck and he's still very active in the voice acting community, and he was already playing Negaduck. Jim Star, but the version they wanted to do a new version. So and they were a bunch of star fuckers. So it's like trying to get celebrities because then you can get out of animation and maybe make friends with celebrities, then you can get onto live action shows which pay better. Little known animation secret. So they offered the role to him. But because it was a major role that was possibly going to have a spin-off show, you had to audition for it, and Patton Oswalt was at the point of his career where he felt he no longer had to do auditions. And so he said, I'll take the role, but I'm not going to audition for it. And, if you're like a Clancy Brown, that's fair.
Yeah.
But Patton Oswalt, no. And they were like, so it's a major role. Everybody has to audition for it. And then he said, fine, I'll audition for it. But this other major role on DuckTales, you have to give to my wife. And they were just like, no, thank you.
Finally, to hear somebody say no to this.
Mm-hmm. Well, you listen to Timothy Oliphant talking about, I think it was might have been on Conan or one of the talk shows, where he's talking about the worst guest character that they ever had on there, and everybody hated him. And he's like, I'm not going to name names, but then he slipped and revealed it was Patton Oswalt.
Oh God!
And then he was like, well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. Yeah. And even Nick Searcy has said on Twitter, I've seen him talk about just what a piece of shit Patton Oswalt was.
Is he just egotistical, or?
Yeah, he's egotistical. He's apparently hard to work with. He's dude's up his own ass.
Yeah. He owes his entire career to Kevin James, and then those two don't even really get along anymore.
And remember, this is the guy that when it came out about Bill Cosby being a rapist, Norm Macdonald has that very famous story where he said that Patton said to me that I think the worst part about it is the hypocrisy. And I disagree. I think it was the raping. I think it was all the raping.
Yep.
Which I quoted today. I quoted today on Twitter because some jackass said that Roman Polanski's greatest crime was making Chinatown and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't think it's his greatest crime. And so I created a meme of Norm saying, I think it was all the raping.
Yeah.
God, I miss Norm Macdonald. That guy was hilarious.
Did I get us demonetized, or were we demonetized long ago?
No, we're not.
We're an hour into the show. We should be safe.
Okay. Woo!
I am. We got more and more people. I think there's a sign, guys. When Andrew is advertised not to be here, people show up more. So I guess, should we call him and fire him right now that he's sick? Folks in the chat, press 1. Should we be cruel bastards?
Honestly, I think what helped us was that you actually put out a tweet, which I was able to retweet, and then for a good portion of the show, it was sitting there with Grace Randolph's face. And since she is in the Twitter sphere zeitgeist right now, people were tuning in to hear what we were saying.
Hold on, let's pull her back up. Let me get a different picture of her face. Hold on. Should we get this young photo of her from IMDb where it looks like a completely different person?
Does it really? Because she looks the same. I mean, I will say this about Grace, and maybe it's the heavy eye makeup, but Grace has aged gracefully, at least in my experience with her, because she looks the same as she did. Oh, look at it. She doesn't have all the eye makeup.
Yeah.
What decade is this? This is like early 90s, right? Or like, because she's not old enough for this to be the late 80s, is it?
What is this? Is this like a headshot? Like she was trying to act, or? This
is her official IMDb photo.
Yeah, that is a friend's headshot because it's not framed properly.
She should lighten up on the eye makeup. She looks she looks prettier.
Yeah, she just doesn't even look like Grace Randolph. But there we go. Dissecting Grace Randolph's aging pattern, folks, only on WCBS. Let's get an old picture of her. Well, a more recent photo of her. How's that? So the chat's asking how old Grace is. I think Grace is around 40. Really? Grace Randolph is only 3 years older than me?
No, I mean, I think so, because I'm just going by, like, it's been 16 years since I was at Boom. And Grace, I think, was she was like 25, 26, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, she's got to be early 40s.
Well, I don't really need to make fun of her because it's just her.
See, but you know what? Like, look, her eye makeup's not that heavy there either. I mean, she's got some eye makeup, but it's not caked on.
It's not like she's trying to be a disguise wearing a Batman mask after her show's done. Just
does it look like she's all there in the photo?
Well, you want to kill me? Like I said, I thought she was very nice. She was very pleasant to work with. I think that it's just the brain rot of what she does for a living, and the lengths that people go to like get attention.
The distance in her eyes.
The distance.
Oh no, you said too much.
Well, she doesn't have stripper eyes, so that's the plus. I'll put it that way.
Hey, Aaron, do you think Andrew would have understood that reference?
No, I don't think he would have got that.
I don't think he knows who REM is.
Andrew's just a wee baby.
He's older than I am. I'm the wee baby, just by age. But like,
well, you're the wee baby, but you're a worldly baby. You're a baby that traveled around and has been exposed to a number of decades of pop culture. I don't know why I'm still doing this accent.
You should not stop doing the accent. You're Fergus McSparrow. What's your Scottish?
I'll do that sometimes. I'll get stuck in an accent and just keep doing it. I'm like, I spent an entire dinner once being Australian. and the waitresses are like, "Oh, what part of Australia are you from?" I was like, Dan from down in Wallaby Springs."
Is that near Alice Springs?
It's near Alice Springs. It's very famous area for raising chickens.
Oh,
I did work with an Australian artist at one point, and at the time, like Jesse Snyder was like really excited about Outback Steakhouse, and so it's like after every show, it was like we got to go to Outback Steakhouse and get a bloomin' onion. He was just like addicted to those things, and we would bring her along,
the MSG.
and we would in our great mercy bring her along and let her be part of our entourage, and. Because she was Australian, we'd always like bust her balls and be like, telling the waiter, like, now we've got an authentic Australian here. So if the Alice Springs chicken is not prepared exactly as it is authentically in Alice Springs, she's going to know.
Well, how disappointed was she in an Outback Steakhouse?
She did not enjoy Outback Steakhouse, and she was also not particularly enamored of us doing our Australian accents, which basically is all just our Australian accents are all just a mix of Crocodile Dundee and Jake from Rescuers Down Under.
What else is there, man? Like a little bit of Mel Gibson here and there.
Well, he's from New York, but he just happened to like get his career started in Australia.
Yeah,
that's not on, mate.
Get a little George Miller or Vernon Wells, maybe.
Clone Geek says, "Why is Scrooge McDuck here?" Bless me, bagpipes. Tougher than the toughies and smarter than the smarties.
I'm going to use technology to develop a cartoon, and I'm going to have you voice all of it so we can hire artists for everything.
Scrooge is tough. I'm actually better at Darkwing, but I would never take work away from Jim Cummings.
I don't think I can afford Jim Cummings, so I can afford.
No, but you can afford me, but like I could probably get Jim to come in on a day rate.
If he's on Cameo, you can just do it that way. That's pretty cheap.
No, Jim's a super good guy. I think that and he's down for like a lot of like different fun stuff. So you never know. But no, I love like one time we were on a panel and someone was asking like they liked the way that I wrote the characters and they were saying like how do you like nail their voices so well, because when I read the comic I can hear them in my head. And I said I obviously I'm a big fan, and obviously I watched the shows, and as I prepared for this I like reacquainted myself with everybody and their performances. I said, so what I'll do is I'll write dialogue and then I'll read it back in my closest approximation of their voice to see if it sounds like the actor would do it. And so I said, so like I'll be sitting there and my friend will be laughing at me because I'm sitting there at the computer going like, I am the terror that flaps in the night. And I did that on the panel. And then Jim was like, don't be coming for my job. It's like, I will cut you.
God, that show has the best Disney theme song, just flat out. I'll pick that over DuckTales any day of the week. And then Fighting Words, I know that.
Good Jim stories in the chat, Jim signing people's collections, and he'll always do like little voices for you. I took my friend Daphne over to meet him this year at San Diego Comic-Con, and he did like all the voices for her, and she started crying like a baby. She got all emotional.
He's a great voice actor. He's on a podcast regularly, or it's his podcast, but one of the two. I follow it, and he's in my feed every week. So he tells stories as Winnie the Pooh.
Great cartoon podcast. He he'll have guys on there, like he'll have Rob Paulson on there and things like that. Speaking of Rob Paulson, I just I just went to a dinner on Saturday night, and it was with some people after Comics Pro, and I got to meet Rob's son Ash for the first time, who has a podcast and does like a YouTube channel and is like a big gamer. Got to meet him, had like a very nice time with him, and it was like, oh man, I've hung out with your dad. It's so weird.
He every time you say his name, though, I think of his name was Robert Paulson, like in Fight Club, which I shouldn't have said out loud. Oops.
That's actually how I started doing the voices, is because I had to. Steelbeak is like very distinctive, and Tad Stones told me that Steelbeak was a character that was actually created for Rob, because Rob would do that voice when he was just like busting your balls in the office or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He would do that, and he would do that laugh. He'd do that when he was messing with you. And so they created Steelbeak specifically for that. And so, when we were doing the Darkwing book, and we had like jokes where, Steelbeak's robbing the library, and Darkwing's like, pardon me for saying so, but you don't strike me as much of a reader. And Steelbeak's like, hey, I read lots of things. I read Spy Times. I read Better Drones and Garrett's. It's like just any kind of like magazine that we could give him, like take off the shelf and like give it like a more, kind of secret agent or spy bent, we did.
Oh yeah, that's the issue where he betrays Darkwing with Fowl and the mountain or or the weird spiritual.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you knowing my work.
I read a bunch of comics. I think they came up with the Rob Paulson for that because he did a bleeper character in Tiny Toons that had that style.
Yeah, in the original run, we did a joke about that where he's like knocked out, and then he comes out of it and he's saying like, I'll watch my language, Buster told me to, to tie it together. But like when we did the Definitively Danger edition, we got to restore our original scripts, but there was a couple of jokes that we had to nerf because sensibilities had changed at Disney. And so, when we did the rewrite, we had to like do some different stuff. But, like one joke we had to lose was, there's a bunch of crime bots and they had like chains and cowboy hats. Just because we wanted a weird visual, but then the line in it was, Darkwing going like, "Oh, now all those purchase orders I processed for chains and cowboy hats make more sense. I just thought somebody had a unique idea of enjoying the weekend." And so that was in the original, but we had to take it out for the second. But we tried to pack in, as many good jokes as we can in their place.
Oh, I love that show. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Who knows? Let's see. Darkwing has better villains than most superheroes, says Clone Geek. Yeah,
he's got the third. I think he's got the third best rogues gallery of any superhero character. I think it's probably Spider-Man, Batman. Yep. Although you could argue those two are interchangeable, and I would not argue with you. But Batman, Spider-Man, Darkwing, and then the Flash.
Yeah, Darkwing's got some funny ones. Like I like the name Bushroot. I think that's just funny. It just makes me laugh.
Right? Yeah, Dr. Reginald Bushroot.
Yeah. And Liquidator's good. Yeah, there's I heard a bunch of them are coming back to me from a while because I got into Darkwing Duck late because again I did not grow up with Disney in my household. Mm-hmm. But anytime you find a really good show that's like, oh, this is kind of Essence of the Shadow with comedy, and it's also got a lot of heart to it with Darkwing adopting Gosling and being a dad, and then falling in love with the klutzy witch. I keep forgetting her name, but
Morgana. Yeah, we had a great. One of my favorite bits in the Definitively Dangerous edition is where she turns Ammonia Pine into a pile of mud, and then Femme Appeal says to her, that was pretty, pretty great, turning her into a pile of mud. And Morgana's like, thanks, I was trying to turn her into a frog. And Femme's like, I'll never tell. Yeah. Megavolt was cool, voiced by Dan Castellaneta.
Mm-hmm. Doing a little part Krusty the Clown with that voice. That's what I always dug about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's the one I was thinking of because he's in the intro to the show, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. What was the niece's name? The girl,
or the stepdaughter.
Yeah,
Jocelyn.
Oh, okay. It's literally been years since I've watched it, but like I said, I listened to the theme song quite a bit. So,
and her best friend was Honker, right?
Yeah, Honker, voiced by Katie Lee, who is a complete sweetheart. I never got to meet the voice of Gosling. She passed away, unfortunately. But before I think like right when I was working on the book, so I never got a chance to meet her. But Katie Lee is just an absolute sweetheart, and she can actually do a pretty good approximation of Goslin's voice.
So we always talk about like good stuff. What do you think was the worst cartoon of your childhood? Or just one that you absolutely hated that you're like, oh, why does everybody like this? And you turned it off. Like
Turbo Teen.
Is it the kid that turns into the car?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's horrific looking.
Yeah, but I mean, I like some bad cartoons. Like I remember liking the Q*bert cartoon. I'm sure if I went back and watched it now, it was terrible. Oh, someone in the so Sly in the chat says Captain Planet. I hated Captain Planet, but I liked all of the Planeteers except for the kid that was Heart. I hated that kid.
Oh, Matee?
Yeah, I hated
He was
Matee.
a jabroni.
Yeah, and I hated Captain Planet himself, and I hated the bullshit like constant preaching of that show. Like I was always rooting for the villains. I was like, yes. Look, by the way, Jim Cummings was one of the villains on there. So I was like, I even at a young age, I recognized that I was being propagandized too.
Well, the biggest one was that story about the drug Bliss and getting addicted. Like that was one that made me raise my eyebrows. Like, what is this? This is so horrible.
They were all doing that. Even the Deke G.I. Joe cartoon, which was the one that like when Sunbow, they stopped doing them with Sunbow and they went to like a cheaper animation house, Deke, which was awful.
And they had Inspector Gadget, man.
Yeah, they had Inspector Gadget. So that was their like winning cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
But the G.I. Joe cartoon that they did was terrible. The voices that they chose that they didn't carry over from the original show were awful. But they had a drug episode where the headman and his headhunters are dealing drugs on the streets, and then at the end the headman overdoses on his own drugs and dies. That's the only time anybody ever died on G.I. Joe.
Well, Nancy Reagan let that one slide. Just say no, man. Just say no.
Overkill wants to know if Launchpad McQuack. This turned into a Darkwing stream. Is Launchpad McQuack the Tom Bombadil of the Darkwing DuckTales universe? He's definitely the common thread, but no, I love Launchpad.
Have you seen the new figure?
Yeah, I'm super psyched for those DuckTales figures.
I'm getting them all.
I am too. And I'm hoping it means that we're going to get Darkwing figures because I imagine NECA has that license too. So maybe finally someone will make the entire Fearsome 5. At least one toy manufacturer will make all of them.
What if they put them in a box set under or behind a $200 paywall?
You know what? Darkwing's one of those things I'd still buy.
Maybe you could just like make a couple of phone calls and acquire some since you worked on the book and you're connected.
Actually, Beast Kingdom sent Sylvania and I free Negaducks that they made, and actually I wrote back to them because I saw when they did their first advertisement for it, and it was like a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. And I said, like, hey, your copy for the character, it's kind of in English and it's not really accurate. And so I rewrote it for them and I said, here, just, like you can just have this. This is not, I'm not asking you to hire me, just have this because I want it to be good. And so they sent Sylvania and I like free samples.
Oh, that's awesome.
Funko sent me a bunch of Darkwing stuff at one point too.
Oh, but they're Pops, right?
Yeah, Pops, but they sent me like one of it's part of like a game that they did. And so, I mean, I was glad to get it because I'll take Darkwing Pops all day. That's one of those things that, that and like somebody like I had some of the Masters of the Universe villain Pops for a while. I ended up trading all those to somebody, but I kept all my Darkwing ones. I've never bought Funko Pops for myself. They've always been gifts from other people.
Dude, I got a ton of them. I've been going through stuff in my collection and throwing out garbage, and I'm trying to decide. Like, folks in the chat, I have a She-Hulk unmorphed Jennifer Walters Funko Pop that a friend sent me to troll me. How should I destroy it on camera? Should I microwave it? Should I boil it?
Is it from the TV show?
Yes.
Get a firework and just launch it into the stratosphere.
It's the Tatiana Maslany pop figure. So.
I think you need to flamethrower it.
Aaron, those are a little hard to come by these days.
No, you just buy the not a flamethrower. I think you can still get those.
Turning into a damn police state.
I know, right? Whatever happened to this country, man? These people get flamethrowers in every street corner in America.
Listen, if you can't get a flamethrower, 12-gauge shotgun.
I just got to ask around. I don't have any of this stuff at my disposal, dude. Like, I have a car, I could just run it over. That could be weird. Not really. It should be more graphic than that.
When I was a kid,
some
we used to just get the hairspray and a lighter and do the flamethrower. But it was
I'll do that.
It was generally because there were like wasp nests, like in the summertime, they'd be up in your eaves, and so you would just go out there and you just go, and it would like burn up the nest, but it was also singe off all their wings, so they would just fall to the ground, and then you could step on them. They couldn't swarm you.
It's better to be safe than sorry, man. In that case, I've been there too. I've burned a couple of those nests. Excuse me.
I would never harm a bee because bees are useful. Wasps are just nature's assholes. They serve no purpose in nature, and if they sting you, they live to sting again. At least a bee has to give its life to sting you, and I respect it. But a wasp, no.
This has been Nature's Assholes here on World Class Bullshitters. You know what? Let's make that a fucking segment, dude. Nature's Assholes. I like that. Where Aaron literally just complains for like 30 seconds
about something in
nature that sucks.
Oh, I got a list. We'll just open it with Chris Jericho. Wasps, you just made the list.
Yeah, I think we're accidentally reformatting this show live on air. Shout out to Elizabeth Young says, I loved Q*bert. I must have put millions of quarters into the Q*bert arcade game back in the day. My friend gave me the nickname Q*bert's mom.
I liked Q*bert because he cussed. It's like he had a little ampersand and hashtag and all the question mark, exclamation mark.
Was the Q*bert cartoon slightly or years ahead of the Pac-Man cartoon?
It was around the same time. I think it was part of the same. Might have been part of the same block of programming.
I meant in terms of quality, though. Like, what was the superior show?
I liked Q*bert a little bit better because it was a little more like Archie. They hung out in a soda shop.
Like in the computer game?
No. Oh, you mean game-wise? I thought you meant the cartoons based on.
No. I mean the cartoon. Like, do they live in a computer or is it like inside of their world?
No, it was inside of their world. It was just like, they just put Q*bert and were like, let's just make the Q*bert cast like Archie, and that's what they did for the cartoon.
I maybe one day I'll watch it if it ever hits streaming somewhere.
Well, we've still got to like watch that Bigfoot and Wild Boy show.
That's right.
We still got to critique that.
Let's find some time soon to do that. We'll record it off air and we'll do it for some extra shit.
Yeah, we'll just tell people like, this is the episode. Here's the link. Start it now.
Yeah. We'll give you guys a timestamp so you can have it link concurrently, so you can get all the inside jokes. You can be the fourth man in the room. That's the whole point of all this.
Although if it's on YouTube, can't we watch it? Because we're commenting on it, so it's transformative, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I did a whole show on Thursday night where we reviewed AI movie trailers and AI short films. So I guess when copyright is nebulous, we will review it here on the channel. And if
that
not,
must have been like both bittersweet and painful.
It was hilarious. We watched some stinkers and we watched some good ones too. But there was this one where Donnie Yen fought Captain America, but like they were just walking down the street and talking for about 80% of it. The guy did not have a strong grasp of the English language. Whoever created this, his name was Tony something. He put his name in every corner of the fucking picture. But like, he was so proud of this work. It sounded like a grade schooler wrote the script. It makes no sense whatsoever. And then they just fight, but then they stop fighting, and then the police come. But Captain America like distracts the police. It was terrible. But the 12-minute Power Girl versus Lady Thor fight, where they both looked like porn stars, was the best made piece of art we watched that entire day.
Oh, there you go.
Someone sent me a Superman 5 AI trailer, which is just 12 minutes of various cutscenes from other Superman stuff done in AI, and then a whole bunch of terrible dialogue from a bad, Kurtzman Star Trek show.
I watched a channel last night. It just came up in my feed, and I was like, "What is this?" And so I watched it, and it was just scenes from the Spider-Man animated series, but done in AI. But it still had all the voices and everything. So you got Spider-Man going, yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I'll chase you to the ends of the earth.
That's the best, worst episode of any cartoon from my childhood because I watched it as an adult and went, oh my God, this acting is horrible. And I just cackled. I love it.
Over the top, man. It was great.
I remember there was a reason that they didn't use Electro, and so that's why Shocker was all of a sudden such a badass.
It was the movie.
Was it really?
They were trying to do that James Cameron movie. That's why the Sandman and Electro aren't really a part of the show, but Electro comes in at the end when Captain America, he's like the Red Skull's son. They rewrote the origin. So Electro's like the Red Skull's son. It was when they brought back those like 1940s superheroes like the Wizard and all that
yeah.
shit.
Everybody remembers the Wizard because it's such a what the heck name.
Yeah. I whiz right by you.
Sure.
No, he pees on you as he goes by. You're like,
See,
oh,
that was
wet. What?
And then Black Captain America. But that was based off the real what was his name?
Isaiah Bradley?
Isaiah Bradley, yeah.
that was always a hard sell to me back in the day, like 1940s era, like superheroes. They would always try to have like those callbacks. They'd have references to stuff, the old pulpy stuff. And I don't know. I never could connect. The stuff from the 60s, I liked. It felt oddly contemporary and weird. But then that 40s stuff just felt like a whole nother lifestyle or a whole nother lifetime away. And I could never connect with it.
No, I mean,
maybe that's why. Maybe that's also too why, like, I get Watchmen, but the Charlton characters are what, from the 40s and 50s that you know they're kind of referencing. That's just an era of comics, man. I never touch. I don't even look at it. Like EC is the only stuff I touch from that era.
I mean, it was all pretty. I mean, it's fun to go back and look at that stuff, but it's very kind of formative and you know, it was designed for kids just to dip in and out. You know, there wasn't like a heavy continuity. You know, even back in those old Superman books, it was just like, what are we doing that's weird this month? I don't know. You want to give Lois superpowers? You know, yeah, let's do that. Well, how's she gonna get them? I don't know. She crashes her car into a magic lake. You know, how dames always crashing their cars. You know, it's like that was the attitude. I've actually got to run. I've got a 7:30 meeting that I'm late for.
Well, you got to take care of that, man.
Yeah. So again, fantastic show. Thank you guys, and I will see you next week, or if we don't do it next week, the week after.
We will see you when we assemble, man. Be safe out there, buddy.
Take care.
Later.
So, script. We've hit 90 minutes. Is there anything else to talk about? Have we missed anything? I mean, it's been such a slow look. I know that the Netflix Warner Brothers deal keeps not happening because it's now Paramount's going to offer some kind of $33 or whatever per share bid.
Yeah,
that's $31 big crossover, right?
Yeah, it's $31 plus a payout for breaking the network's term. But it goes down to a ratio. It's $31 a share for the entire company. But Netflix's, I think their bid was like $27 a share for not all of the company, but a sizable portion of it, which ends up meaning that Netflix is paying more money for less of the company compared to Paramount. So we'll see what happens. All I know is that regardless of which side takes this deal, it then has to go under scrutiny from the federal government. And despite the amount of greasing of the wheels that the Ellison family is doing, it's going to be a really hard sell to get past regulations when, you know, many people within the Senate are saying it looks like the entertainment industry is shrinking on the big side of it, which is not good because the big studios actually help the smaller studios build up equity within their companies because you do cross financing and distribution deals that help get a smaller studio a little bit more exposure. They can then afford bigger movies and then populate more theaters, and you know that's how you kind of expand the business. But once that's consolidated down from 5 major studios to 4 major studios, you then also have a massive amount of cuts, which are also terrible for the industry and also terrible for the company, which is something that was released in a recent letter with David Zaslav. It's going to be fascinating thing to see, but this won't officially take hold until closer to like 2030. So, you know, you've got significant amount of time. I'd be surprised if it got like done within the next year or so, because even the Paramount stuff took over like 2.5, 3 years to get set up with Skydance Paramount now, or Paramount Skydance, however they want to call it.
Well, that's like the only big consistent story that I'll see right now, because like the Mandalorian trailer came and went. We never really talked about it in a live stream, so we just talked about it in video format. Other stories come and go. Star Trek is a joke, which that isn't a surprise to anybody.
Right.
It's like we're in like this weird window of like stuff's not as crazy as it used to be, like the woke, whatever you would call it.
Right.
And then the movies also, there are a lot more good ones that you can reference instead of saying everything sucks. So it's like a weird time for our space, but it's also like a better time for consumption. I'm actually finding quite a bit of enjoyment for what I'm watching these days.
There's a few things more that are working into its favor compared to what has been going on previously, and this is all a byproduct of the fact that by 2022, the studios kind of realized, hey, this is not working. We need to start changing gears. And we started seeing the trickle of that effect in late 2023, early 2024. Then 2025 was actually not a terrible year when it came to movies that entertained and inspired. The only blowback is the fact that, you know, the box office is not in a great situation right now. And I don't think it'll ever really bounce back because people won't care enough to go to an actual theater experience. The theaters have hurt themselves just as much as streaming has hurt home video and theaters. And the studios have found a way, even with all the setbacks of having their own streaming service, they've still found a way where they can make a ton of money on video on demand and rental with zero overhead that physical media had. And so we're shifting back into the early 2000 days where the theatrical release is not really where the money is made. It's essentially the commercial for your digital download or your eventual like boutique physical release. And that's where the cash is. And I've been in a number of meetings over the past month where that has been the conversation, where they basically say, like, listen, the movie theaters are a great experience to have, and it's nice and retro, but it's been priced out of the every man's wallet, essentially. Like you cannot go to a movie for $10 the way you used to back in, you know, when we were teenagers. And that's what's been hurting the box office more than anything. It's been priced out, and it's been priced out because theaters have decided to invest tons of money to compete with the home theater market that emerged in the early 2000s, where it's like, oh, we can now make big screen TVs for a lot cheaper than we could before. And then we have incorporate surround sound, and then you just get a nice leather sofa or a recliner with a fridge in it. And now you've got your little home theater, and you don't have to drive, pay for parking in some instances, and pay for, you know, a couple of movie tickets for a family plus overpriced concessions, and then head into a movie theater where you're praying that someone is not going to try and disturb the experience for you with either their body odor, their any other smells they produce, or their obnoxious behavior of laughing or shouting or whatever to ruin the experience. You don't have to worry about that when you do it at home. And then when you don't also have to rent movies and worry about a late fee for holding on to the disc too long, Netflix takes over, which goes into streaming, which means that you have the convenience of not having to leave your home. And oddly enough, the age majority that's coming into the fold would much rather stay at home where it's nice and it's safe and it's comfortable, and only go out when it's something really, really important to do. And that's very difficult to compete for. And it looks like the industry is going to, out of respect and courtesy for the theaters, they're going to hang on to them as long as they can, but they're going to be downsized significantly by the time we get to the next decade, which is unfortunate.
It is sad because maybe I'm crazy, but it feels like it happened so quick. Like pre-pandemic, and nobody really, I get it. People are like, oh, movie theaters are pricey or this or that, but like people still went.
Mm-hmm.
There was all these big movies to go see with crowds. I mean, I love to go experience these movies on day one with the most excited people because there's an energy that you can feel. I do hate when people talk over the movies, but I'm fairly lucky. I've been to a lot of experiences where everyone's there for the experience. So maybe the laughter's too loud, like in the first Avengers, but it's not disruptive. It didn't take away from the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it always, you know, I never think to myself, oh man, that movie I found on Netflix really changed the way I consume something or experienced something. But with the right crowd, like I went and saw The Happening in theaters back in the day. It wasn't formatted properly on the screen, so the boom mic was in frame. Like stuff was just not done right, and it was hilarious because you could see stuff that you shouldn't see. And this dude was roasting it, and then I started joining in on it, and we were having like a great time. And the movie's terrible.
Yes,
but only in that theatrical experience would I have a memory 18 years later that I'm still chuckling about. Like, that's what I'm so worried about is being lost. It's beyond just, oh, I like movie theaters because they're consistent, or oh, I like movie theaters because I've always gone. Like, I don't want socializing to go away because that's the zest of life. Like, sitting at home watching a screen is boring as shit. Like, I have to do it for work. I fucking hate it. The last thing I want to do is when I'm free is, well, I'm going to start another screen. But this time with people in the room. Like, nah, like, I get it that going to a movie theater is watching something, but it's projected. It's a whole event. It's a whole different thing. It's not just staring at a tablet or a computer.
Right. It's a little bit of a spectacle. The trouble is that we have two generations of people that recognize that it's that going to the theater and the interaction is on the bare basics of things is no different than just doing it at home. The advantage for at home is that you can pause to answer a phone call, go to the washroom, grab a snack, maybe fool around with your significant other, and then pick up where you left off, which you don't have that ability with the theater. And I mean, there's this fair argument that part of it has to do with what the studios are putting out in the content wise, which I completely understand. The fact of the matter is that it's always been like that. Usually you would have people, they go to the movie theater every week because it was cheap and affordable, and they would randomly pick a movie that they hadn't seen yet that'd been playing, and it ends up being something eventually talked about, because after the big tentpole movies have run their course, you start looking like, well, let's go to the movies on Friday. What are we going to see? Well, we've seen this, we've seen that. Oh, what's this movie about? We don't have a trailer. We have a poster, maybe. Let's give it a shot. And then they end up either really loving it or really hating it, but at least it's a story that they can tell from that experience. They don't have, like, we have a society where the majority of it doesn't have a disposable income for such things anymore. So you have to pick and choose, which is why post-pandemic, after so many jobs are lost, after so many were switched over to working remotely, and then the surge of AI taking over a lot of the office work that's no longer needed for human beings, you realize, like, yeah, you can still get maybe one or two movies a year that'll cross $1 billion, but that's because those are the only two movies that your audience is going to go see. And that's basically their budget, and the metrics are are showing that's tending to be the case, at least in North America. Is that it doesn't matter how good it is or how much it's talked about. Like, people are actually double checking, like, can I afford it for this weekend? Is the experience going to be worth it, or should I just wait 45 days or less to stream it and save myself $100 on that weekend, which could go towards a few days of groceries depending on where you live, or a few weeks of groceries depending on where you live. It's a tough decision process right now. And the worst part is that there's, like, if the industry was doing what it should be doing, regardless of the price, it should be such a nail biter for every single person out there to be like, man, I can only afford to go maybe 2 or 3 movies a year, and there's so many good looking things out there. What the heck do I get to pick? Like, and you kind of want that position for your audience, even though it's a struggle for them, because it shows that you've hit the core of what audiences are looking for, because we're actually entering this phase with AI where the one spectrum of the internet that says make things that people want, which is actually really bad, because that's called made to order or a la carte entertainment. And a la carte entertainment is the most boring entertainment you could ever ask for, because it doesn't fulfill the inherent need of an adventure story or a romantic story or a comedy that that gets you engaged. Because if you pretty much think of it this way, what's more entertain? Like, you go to a restaurant, you order food, and they give you exactly what you want. Yeah, you enjoy it, but compared to someone making something at home as a surprise that blows you away, you have better memories, you have better feelings, you have more satisfaction from something of that nature, because the person knows your tastes, and instead of giving you exactly what they want, they're having fun with the taste that they know you like and trying to create something new that when you try it, you have those exceeded expectations. And now you lust for this. And you're like, I'm going to add this to the things that I like. Whereas getting stuff made for you that you want, it's not adding to what you like. It's just regurgitating to you what you like. And that only goes so far before it ends up becoming valueless and disposable. And then that's a whole nother problem that we'll be facing, I would say, very soon, sadly. Oh my gosh, it's so depressing without Aaron here.
I know, right? I'm going to put on a sad album and cry myself to sleep later, folks. No, I'm just joking. It's... Now I lost my train of thought thinking about shitty, sad albums. What'd you say? Sorry, man. Refresh me.
I basically said that made-to-order movies.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Will have its moment, but it's never going to satisfy.
I think when you make points like this, it makes me think that you do want you want something for the fans, or you want people that like this stuff to make the stuff, but you also don't want people that are like too deep into it to make the stuff, because it kind of blends into the make stuff. Well, what you're trying to say is like you're only making stuff for the people because it just regurgitates what they want. It's like with Dave Filoni and Star Wars, you're just going to get the same idea regurgitated because it's what he wants. That's what he can do. That's what he thinks. And I think more of the regurgitation creates the stagnation, which will keep people away from seeing value in theatrical presentations.
Yeah, which is ironic, because the one thing that made Star Wars so amazing on the theatrical level is that as much as you learned from the previous movie, you were pretty much surprised with the next installment every time. Even the bad ones with like the prequel trilogy, you were generally surprised because you were not expecting what would happen. That is what an artist does. It contributes to the things that you like, as opposed to just repeating the things that you like. And I know a lot of people would try to argue that The Acolyte is the worst Disney Plus Star Wars show, but I still contend that Ahsoka is the worst, because Ahsoka is a regurgitation, where at least The Acolyte tries something new. Like, it misses severely, but it's far more competently written, and it does something new, and it takes a risk, and it tries, and even though it completely bastardizes the spirit of what Star Wars was, it's trying to do something different and new, and it's also a far more coherent story. It doesn't have a single scene where Ahsoka's submerged underwater for 45 minutes, reliving a couple of scenes from the Clone Wars, because remember that cartoon? And then when she revives herself, she's just staring off into the horizon, because stoicism is the key Jedi trait, according to Dave Filoni. When the two coolest Jedis we get have each of them had a very distinct personality that was driven by wisdom, but didn't make them like Vulcans from Star Trek. So it's just, yeah, there's a lot of tragedy there. And I also think that Ahsoka has to its advantage the fact that a lot of people could just graft on the things that they liked about that character from the Clone Wars cartoon that of episodes that were done well, versus looking at it and be like, you know what, this is patronizing me and thinking that I'm an idiot. Every single minute that's going by, where the Acolyte is saying like, hey, wouldn't this be cool? And you're like, no, it's not cool. But I get what you're trying to do. It's just not, it's not really cool. It doesn't feel like it's trying to insult the audience. It's just trying to say like, I want to do something different, and you can, and it's not great, but it's like, at least you're trying to do something different. Like, that's what Star Wars is. Star Wars is always like, give me a new story, give me something else that feels the vibe. I think that's why The Mandalorian first season kind of kicked off so well, even though I was not a big fan of it, because it was a different story, a new take that worked within the confines of that universe up until a certain point. And that's what Star Wars was about. and that's also goes to George Lucas's philosophy, which is he's the great experimenter. Like he's not going to repeat something he's done before unless he can add something new to it, and that's what how Hollywood survives, because they always say, give me the same but different. And that's essentially what it means. Like, give us something familiar but add in something different to contribute to what has come before.
What's the read you're getting on, since you mentioned The Mandalorian? Do you think that movie's going to be a super hit based on anything that's come out lately? Have you heard anything from anyone?
I've heard that there's a far more excitement about it than expected. I think it'll probably have a really strong opening weekend. My biggest concern is the fact that even though Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger have dispatched from Disney, they were still around during the production of this film. Dave Filoni got a heavy influence over everything that is going on at Star Wars. So regardless of how much I enjoy Jon Favreau when he makes the films, I don't know how much autonomy he got in doing this one. So I don't know if it's going to have the legs, but the vast majority of the world, I know this, is surprised that there's a Star Wars movie, and not many of them. The metric is I think about 18% of general audiences know about the Mandalorian show and Grogu on Disney Plus. That also know about Star Wars. So for them, they haven't seen a Star Wars film since in theater since The Rise of Skywalker. So for them, this is like Star Wars is a return. So it could have some pretty significant opening weekend numbers.
It'd be interesting to see if it's like a monumental hit, because it would be what's the new narrative on Star Wars then? I mean, it does amplify that what we hated was terrible. Because if general audiences are like, hey, this is great.
Well, we got that. We got Starfighter with Ryan Gosling. And I know Disney is really excited for that film because they're hoping that the positive vibes that are coming out of Project Hail Mary, which I am really looking forward to, will carry over into that one. And Project Hail Mary, like, that's a great book. Sweet and it's endearing. Highly recommend people read it before they go see the movie. But it'll complement. I have a very strong feeling based on what I've heard from people who have seen early cuts of Project Hail Mary that it's a great honor and compliment of the book itself. So, and I really am hoping it's going to be like the sci-fi movie event of the year.
I mean, I'll be there right away.
Yeah, me too.
For me, real quick to go back to the theater thing, I have my Regal pass. I paid for it. I gotta see stuff that gets me excited. And it's not even that it has to be high octane, big budget, special effects spectacle. I mean, it just has to be like, oh, that looks cool. I'll watch that story.
I would recommend checking out Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
I've been looking to see where it's playing, and it's not playing anywhere near me.
Yeah, same for me. And what's funny is that I've crossed paths with those guys like a decade ago. They're funny guys. And they made the movie Blackberry, which I don't know how they managed to pull that off. I also don't know how they managed to pull off making this one, because whenever you get co-finance from the Canadian government, they put in so many restrictions for distribution deals. It's not funny. It's actually like, oh, I made this movie and I can't show it anywhere. Right. You have to give it over and it has to go into an archive. And what will happen to it? We don't know. It's just going to stay there. So no one's ever going to see it. Well, one day, somehow. But no, there's about 8 movies I've worked on that are in that archive that will never be shown in the history of Earth, unless the planet is destroyed and some alien species comes down and finds the archive and then takes it out. Then they'll actually see some of the work I've done in Canada. That they'll be the first eyes to see it, and they'll not understand any of it. I expect.
Are we missing out on some gems?
I don't. It's hard to tell right now because it's been so long since I've like remembered them, and I don't have copies myself. So that's the other hang up. So I can't even go back and see it. But I don't know. I was happy to work on them at the time. That's the best I can really say right now. That's why I like just going like different routes of independence, and then on top of that, like working within the studio system or the sub studio system. So production companies out in California that they're not exactly, mainstream, but they still technically count as independent projects.
So, Script, is there anything else you think we got to hit this week, man? We can round it out at a nice 2-hour mark. We got more people watching than we have before. So, folks, if more people keep rolling in, I mean, it's always hard to go away when you keep showing up. But it just means you should show up each and every Tuesday, because I guess since there was such a turnout, I guess we'll have to be back next week, folks. So keep showing us love like this, and you'll get more world-class content.
Yeah,
Honestly,
the only thing I've heard recently is just like with the Baby Yoda stuff with the Mandalorian, oddly enough, there's a huge interest in Crypto the Superdog still going around.
Oh, really?
I know it's not so much in our corner of the internet, but I got to see some of the numbers, and I was like, well, where are those? And then they showed me where they were, and it's like, oh my God, there's a ton, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, not so much on the Twitter sphere. Of people loving Crypto, the bad boy with a heart of gold, so to speak. So that's probably why we've seen so much, Crypto advertising with the Supergirl film. I'm crossing my fingers that'll be a fun romp. And I also had a buddy who said that they got to see a couple pages of Man of Tomorrow, and he's pretty excited for it. So we'll see how that pulls off on the DC side of things, because DC Studios won't be going anywhere for a good while, and I also doubt that James Gunn's going to be going anywhere either for a bit.
Is Supergirl this year, right?
Yeah, it's this year. It's oh God, what is this coming up against? I think it's going up against one of the Marvel films, isn't it?
If it's Spider-Man, that movie's cooked.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Spider-Man's more towards the end of the year.
Avengers is December. I think Spider-Man's July.
Okay, so I think Supergirl's June.
Okay. Hey, look, I wish the best. Admittedly, it's gotta sell me harder than its trailer, because it's. I don't know why people took offense to say it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy, but like not just in look, but like in tone almost, to where it's like Coke and Pepsi, where they're different products, but they're also both cola. I was like, it feels so similar. Now, if they wow me with another trailer, it'll be a day one watch. If they don't, it might be like hey, I'll catch it on Tuesday, or everybody wants to go see it the next day, I'll wait. Like, there's something about Supergirl. They picked a character that I have no urgency to ever support. I just don't care.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's going to hurt them.
I think they're trying to go with the Iron Man approach, because I mean that's why Marvel started with Iron Man. They're like, if it doesn't work, nobody's going to care. We're fine. We're okay. This one doesn't have the same context, because it's a follow up to Superman, an official film follow up to Superman. That's then going to lead into Man of Tomorrow, and there's also the Clayface film, which I'm getting mixed confirmations from people within the studio systems and also people outside. They're saying like, oh yeah, it's part of the main DCU. No, it's not. It's going to be a kind of part of their Elseworld labels. So it's a little different there. But one of the things that is actually really surprising is DC Studios is actually killing stuff that's not working before they actually put real money behind it, unlike Disney, where they just push it through to the end and just try to get it out there. So that shows people at least care about what they're working on. So, I mean, despite what you might think about Gunn and his team over there, if they're pulling projects before they even get to like, second tier development and casting and whatnot, because it's just not working, they're thinking about you, like out there, you as the audience member. Because if something's not working, they're thinking, you know what, if this is not working, it means an audience is not going to get it. And if an audience is not going to get it, we're not going to waste their time. And that is the ultimate form of courtesy you can get from a company that otherwise should really only care about putting your butt in a seat as opposed to anything else. So, give them props for that for now.
I've liked what I've seen. And if DC can just be consistent, like if Superman 2 is pretty close to the first one, maybe even better, hopefully. That's what we all want. then I'm going to continue to show up for that version of the character. I feel like for the first time in my life, because I'm born post Superman 4, that I'll have a Superman on screen that's going to continue in an adventure that I'm interested in. Because I liked Henry Cavill, the actor. It's like he was just in the worst shit. And by the way, I haven't read your super chat yet. I haven't forgotten. Don't worry.
Yeah, he got the short end of the stick there. Bad timing, bad creative team, bad studio management was horrible. I know I was there on and off. If it wasn't horrible, I probably would have been there like for a longer time consistently. I wouldn't be like leaving and then coming back and leaving and coming back. But yeah, he got. I mean, listen, Henry Cavill is still technically an actor within Hollywood right now who is nobody knows if they're bankable or not. And he's been in a number of things that have not really made waves. So it's up to the fact, like, is he going to be that type of mid-tier actor that people like and has a solid fan base, but not to the point where he can break numbers at the box office. So, but if he finds that niche for him, that's good for his career. I like David Cornsweet as Superman, and I enjoyed the first movie, even though it was heavily over edited. And I've had some friends trying to find me the official draft prior to the shooting draft of Superman because I want to see some of the scenes that were cut out that are not on they didn't even film, that they just cut from the initial story. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. I will say it is kind of funny. So many people talking about, the Jor-El message and Brainiac, and it just says, "Oh, tell me you've never read a Superman comic without telling me you've never read a Superman comic." Because Brainiac doesn't care about messages. He's a preserver of civilizations. He doesn't breed or crossbreed anything or anyone. All he cares about is capturing a city of a planet during its peak stage of evolution, preserving it, destroying that planet, and moving on. That's Brainiac's mode. He doesn't
remember care. If it wasn't an Injustice or the first couple Snyder movies, they don't know the character. Like, that's it.
That, and there's a lot of conflating from like Superman the Animated Series, which was a fantastic show, but no, it wasn't exactly part of what made the character. And I'm a big fan of like the Bronze Age, as we guys all know, but I also like parts of the Silver Age because I like the silliness. I like the fact that we're getting a DC that's not afraid to be DC. And that's a breath of fresh air for me. I know. I agree. I know there's lots of people, and I think their opinions are incredibly valid. When they're like, "No, I want a Superman that's more like this or embodiment of that," and I can say, well, like, we kind of have those already, and you can find them here, and find them over there. I want to give this a shot because I really want to see, a story or a Batman story with like him going against Killer Croc, because we don't see that properly. And, Superman fighting against a Mongol in Warworld and Mr. Mxyzptlk and the Flash and his crazy rogues gallery, going after them and a far more earnest take where Wonder Woman is fighting someone like Dr. Psycho or Cheetah or or like Ares or Hades or any one of the other Greek gods. I want to see those types of fun, extreme parts because the thing that really stuck with me with this new DCU is that they have openly said this is not our world. Like you're not going to see many crossover cities from today. Like our cities, our worlds are in the DCU. Like, are you going to see New York City? Probably not, but you'll see Gotham and you'll see Star City and Coast City and you'll see, Themyscira, and you already made up Jonapur and all those other countries like that don't exist. Just basically trying to say this is not us trying to bring superheroes into our world. This is me taking you, the audience, and bringing you into the DC world, and that is a really refreshing thing to see.
Did you watch Wonder Man yet? Because the guy who plays the president, you did.
Yeah, Wonder Woman was great.
I'm glad somebody else watched it, man. I felt like I was on Lonely Island for a minute.
Oh no, I completely understand. Wonder Woman was great because it's essentially a Marvel show that's not a Marvel show. It's not about anything Marvel related really at all. It's two actors becoming friends, caught in a situation that only one is aware of. And man, even the Joe Pantaleone running joke was great.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean it was a show mostly about the industry. It was about a corner of the industry of the acting side of things, which I've dealt with. I'm sure you've dealt with it because you lived out there for a couple of years. So you probably saw a lot of the desperation, the eagerness, the vapid aspect of trying just to get one step closer to a regular job as
Dude,
an
it
actor.
felt like I was back out west when I watched that show, but not in a bad way. I was just like, holy shit, this is. They even mentioned Mendocino Farms. I was like, oh man, I've eaten there.
yeah, it's a great
A
place.
lot.
No, I mean it was really good capturing of what the industry, what an aspect of the industry can be like for actors. Yeah, I was really surprised by that because I've been hearing for like the past year, like Wonder Man is really, really good. And I just rolled my eyes like, yeah, you're kind of like the same people that said the same thing about like Hawkeye and what were the Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier, etc. And then I saw this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually really good. And what's fantastic is that it's heavy on character. So it's complex characters and simple plot. And of course, the entire Josh Gad gag was funny.
It made me actually like him for once.
And ding dong. Because that all, I mean, the other part too is it plays into an aspect of celebrity that we haven't seen since Joker Folie à Deux. And I know a lot of people don't like that film because they come at it like, well, he's supposed to be the Joker. And the irony is that entire movie series, both the first one and the second one, is about the fact that he is not the Joker at all. He would be no way near possible to become the Joker. It's about how society can take a sick person and elevate them on a pedestal to be a proxy for all the things and angst that they have at the expense of that person's identity. And when that identity tries to take hold again, it is ultimately rejected by the public and it ends up imploding. And it's also a reflection on society because oddly enough, when that movie came out, only a few months later, we had a horrible, evil person do something really horrible to an executive at a healthcare insurance company. And then, well, if you followed that pattern, it was beat for beat what Joker and Joker Folie à Deux were doing. And it was a brilliant, commentary on something that happens many times in our society, tragically. And that's why I personally enjoyed the movie. That's also why I really, really liked Wonder Man, because it shows how a person desperate for attention, who has a love of art and entertainment, and how far they're willing to go to get that. And also how far someone is willing to go who cares about a person to make sure that person's dream comes true, even at their own detriment and their own personal cost. I mean, that's some fun stuff. And then also I like the fact that the commentary of the government was like, oh yeah, we're going to lose funding unless we get some, numbers. And so this guy's like, I'm just going to go after this random dude that I think has got powers. And then I'm going to manipulate and blackmail anyone I can in order to secure the existence of my job and justify it. And it's like, yeah, that's great commentary on like, whenever you make a government program, it's never going to go away. It's just going to be changed from one form to another. And that money's still going to be spent. And there's people desperate enough to make sure that the money is spent on them. And yeah, I was pretty good. It was pretty good.
I wish here's the weird hypocrisy of my statement. I wish other things could capture that, but I don't want anything to copy it. What I mean is I want to capture that sense of, just something interesting to watch is all. Like, I literally sat there and watched every episode in a row and went, this was great. Like, I loved the ending, how all that shit went down. Like, oh man.
No, it was really clever. A person just recommended me, like, they remade apparently a miniseries of Lord of the Flies. It's new. So I want to go check that out because I really love that book. And it's great experience of human condition. And yeah, like the stuff's out there. It's just so hard to find. And then there's not really a nice source, a reliable source of recommendations to show you like, yeah, this is really good. You should go check this out. And here's how you do it. Like that's really hard to do because I've lost a good hour or two going through like Hulu, looking for something like a comedy or an interesting drama or a sci-fi thing. And it's really hard to find one, because there's just so many of them out there. Oversaturation is diluting the ability for us to really discover some amazing shows out there and then share them with the world. I think the most recent one that's kind of made some waves was like A Night of Seven Kingdoms, which I thought was pretty solid.
Is that the what one is that the one with the little kid and the the bald kid, right? Okay.
Little bald kid. It's a Game of Thrones universe type of deal.
Okay, that's what I didn't realize that was already out.
Yeah, it's out. The only 6 episodes of the first season just completed, I think, this last weekend. And yeah, it works for the Game of Thrones stuff. It is definitely in the topper tier of what Game of Thrones is. And yeah, it's a good. I would say it's a good thing to explore. It's also done by Ryan Condal, who did House of the Dragon. Ryan Condal is a pretty darn good screenwriter. I used to chat with him on a couple of screenwriting message boards years ago, and he has very good insights and understandings of story and character. So he started like way out in the fringes and then managed to break in and break in big. One of the things that he did that sadly we were robbed of because of Amazon is he wrote a Conan the Barbarian series that was I had heard like amazing things about, and Jen Psaki ended up axing it because it was too misogynistic, and then he was snatched up to do House of the Dragon at HBO, and of course that was like the biggest series on streaming to drop when that dropped.
Well, I mean, he got his in the end. I wish.
Yep.
I want more Conan. Like, I like the movie, the first one.
Mhm.
Not in love with the Destroyer. Don't hate the Momoa one, but I would like to see just like, hopefully He-Man's successful, where they're like, well, maybe barbarians are cool again, so we can have a barbarian movie. I'd be all on board with that.
Oh man, I am hoping He-Man is successful. I've heard really positive things about people who are very, very particular that this movie is going to be a lot of fun. It might be the only movie Jared Leto will be in that'll be a hit, which will be a first in his 30+ year career. And his face.
Yeah, Tron was a flop and a half.
Oh God, Tron! I don't know what they were thinking there. But no, I'm hoping for He-Man will be a lot of fun and good. What's really funny is when I saw that first trailer, I got flashbacks to when I was watching the show as a kid on reruns because I wasn't born when new episodes were being dropped, and I must have picked up maybe a dozen references from the original cartoon that were peppered very carefully in that trailer, and that made me realize like, oh, the people on the production, like they really kind of leaned into what He-Man was. And then when I was talking to some colleagues out there, they're saying, yeah, there's a bunch of people on there that were aware of He-Man, didn't really know what it was, started watching the show and just fell in love with it. And I'm like, well, that's the best part, because now you've got a huge team that earned their position in the industry based on their skill set, and then professionally looked into what it was that they were working on, ended up falling in love with what it stood for, and tried to do its best to honor it based on also the stipulations of the production itself and what they were trying to get out of it. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to be disappointed with that film. I would love it if they were able to do a resurgence, not just on like, barbarians and fantasy, but like getting into a bit more broader genres. That would be fantastic.
I would love that, because I see the same shit all the time, man. I'm tired of it.
There's that, and the other part too is like color grading is all the same. Like
maybe that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, because I've looked at like a half dozen movies in the last month, and they're all lit the same way. They all use the same type of color palette, which is a little bit of that off gold, less blue, kind of flat mixes of oranges, and it's like, oh, this is interchangeable with like so many other films. Where's that distinct style and nature? And then on top of that too, I was listening to oddly enough an interview with James Gunn recently, and he was talking about how he hates the fact that there's too many directors these days that don't block a scene. So, using camera movement and moving the actors around. And he cited that that conversation, that Lois and Clark conversation, that 10-minute one in his movie. He says, the only reason why most people forget that scene is like 10 minutes is because there's so much camera movement and moving of the actors around. You forget that it's a long scene because it just moves so quickly because there's more things going on in the scene than just then two people sitting across from each other talking. And he's right. Because I
didn't realize it was 10 minutes.
Yeah, because I remember in the theater, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting scene. And then it's after the fact that I'm realizing, like, yeah, they talked about a lot of stuff. But that had to have been about 8-9 minutes. And then you see the interviews. It's like, yeah, it's a 10-minute scene. It's like, holy crap, that did not feel like 10 minutes. And that comes down to like the directing stuff. And then there's another scene like that in Peacemaker season 2, where there's a talking scene in a room and the characters are moving around. And that is also about 6 or 7 minutes. And it only feels like 2 minutes, but you get a ton of information. It doesn't feel like an info dump or anything. And that's all comes down to directing. And I think that will go a long way too when it comes to the next generation of filmmakers, because right now they're going to be very tempted with AI, but AI is only showing an advantage when it comes to doing digital effects. Can't replace actors. Have you seen that meme or that AI video of Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt kind of redoing the Miami Vice drive from the pilot?
No, now I need to. Holy shit.
Yeah,
I love that show.
Yeah, you can check it out. Oh yeah, like that show is great. I mean, it goes off the rails after I think they destroy the car, right? If I'm not mistaken.
So they destroy the car in the beginning of season 3 and bring in the Testarossa. I think the show goes off the rails when Crockett goes bad.
Oh yeah, when he gets he gets the amnesia thing and goes bad.
Yeah. It's a little hokey.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's like when that thing came out, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it still doesn't look convincing enough. And then Robert Meyer Burnett, who is a buddy of mine, filmmaker, director, did the remaster for Star Trek: The Next Generation. He says he put out a post saying, "Oh, one of the reasons why AI cannot really get out past that uncanny valley is because it doesn't know that everything that it's been learning so far is shot through a lens. It doesn't comprehend what a lens does and how it captures light in a certain way. So when it's trying to recreate it, it's trying to recreate it as if it were shot by a human eye without that lens in between." And that's why it's got a little bit of a cartoony feel and also a little bit of a it's too real to be real feel, like just something that kind of like outside of the uncanny valley. And I think he's right, because even when you can tell the AI, I want it in this lens at this focal length, it's not quite grasping it in the same way for human characters, at least. But for like digital, for like, inanimate objects, it's alarmingly convincing.
I was always wondering what it was. I could never verbalize the issue I was having with that, because I can see when you're discussing it or describing it, I'm like, oh yeah, it does look weird. It does look off. It is this. It is that. Since AI is trained off of itself, do you think that look's always going to stick around? Do you think they'll ever be able to like break that? Because I watched an Optimus Prime video that looked almost as good as the ILM stuff from the movies.
Right.
But then I've also looked at stuff where it's like, this kind of looks like Bob Ross, but then it kind of doesn't. Mm-hmm. Especially when humans move or interact with each other, it can't like capture that.
Yeah. So I think in about a couple of years, yes, it'll probably be able to be a lot more convincing. One of the biggest hiccups is that AI has, when it's generating something, it cannot retain its own memory. So a lot of people have referred to AI videos as kind of like a dream state video. Like when we have a dream, we especially, no matter how vivid it is, there's always just something about it, the way our mind processes it optically, that feels like there's either a shroud over it or there's some sort of filter that just prevents it from being completely authentic, although we still get the idea that it's real or happening based on our mind just playing tricks on us. And AI kind of does the same thing, especially when it comes to, like, you saw those early videos where someone would be like surfing on the water, and then all of a sudden it'll transform into like them snowboarding, and the transition would be so smooth. It's like, that's kind of like how dreams combine images. And it's the most visual way where we can actually see it in real time with our eyes, as opposed to seeing it within our minds while we're asleep. And what I've noticed is that because AI doesn't have the ability to retain human characteristics so much, it constantly changes the facial geography of the characters if you're doing something longer than like a couple of seconds, which means that if you wanted to do an AI project with current day AI, you'd have to have as many quick cuts as you'd have with Liam Neeson hopping a fence in a Taken movie. Because that's the only way you're going to keep your character consistent, which is horrible, because now you're looking at an idea of, oh, well, sometimes some of the best scenes are one where it's a steady shot on a character while you're following them around a location. But if you're doing that, their face is going to change every time. And if you're asking them to speak on top of that, well, now your mouth is not going to look, the character's mouth is not going to look correct either. So there's a lot of huge hurdles for it to do. And then I also have to put out this warning: if you think AI is going to be democratized enough the same way that YouTube has been, I've got a bridge to Alaska to sell you, because one of the things that AI is trying to do is get a lot of people interested in it on an affordable level. And then once it gets to the point where they want it to, they are going to hike up the price to price the vast majority of people out. So today, if you want to make a feature film completely out of AI, you want to have it with the best AI that's currently out there, you are going to be spending at least $70,000 to get that made. And not a lot of people have $70,000 to throw away on an AI movie. And that's just going to be on the low end. And eventually, as the years go on, it's going to get more and more expensive for people. And people get very creative with the free stuff that'll be out there, and there'll be a lot of it. But if you want something that's going to be consistent and a lot easier to use, it's going to be that one. And you can bet dimes to dollars that the studios are going to use that, especially for like previs and special effects, and then just going to drop in a human actor in the middle of that, which is also going to make capturing actors' performances a lot harder, because the actors, in some cases, are not going to be able to see what they're acting around unless the studio ponies up the money for a stagecraft or the volume set. And it's going to be a whole new ball game. And I'm trying to see as best I can of ways that I can stay ahead of it, because it's never going to replace the writing aspect of things. But it could replace a whole lot of other stuff. And if it replaces all the other stuff, that means the collaborative process is going to be narrowed, which means that I'm not going to have as many interesting people that can take my work and, increase the quality through the visual imagination that they can provide. So that's going to cause some interesting outcomes over the next few years.
I do love when the unintended consequences of an action pop up. So it'd be interesting to see, like, if some of the special effects in movies drop to a point where people just laugh it off. Because I get it that CGI is the most expensive part of the film. And look at something like War of the Worlds with Ice Cube. I almost called it Ice-T.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that. That movie, quote unquote, has special effects, and they look very special. I wouldn't be surprised if we get major studios that are like, we're just going to go like that. Because there's a theory going around in the wrestling world that TKO, the company that owns the WWE, is intentionally making the shows crappy so people's expectations are lowered. Therefore, in the future, when they want to sell wrestling to other organizations or other places, the fans won't complain. They'll just be like complacent. I wonder if we're going to get a similar type of effect with special effects. People aren't going to theaters. We're just going to do less because it's on a smaller screen, and just condition people to expect crappier looking work.
Well, I mean, that's already kind of going on, and not as a result of like trying to lower expectations. It's as a result of trying to meet a deadline. So, I mean, right now there are special effects artists that can make things so convincing you would never be able to tell the difference. Problem is that it takes a long time for them to do it, and it takes a lot of rendering hours and computer power. And because so many movies now have thousands of effects shots in them, you just don't have the time to get them all done. Like you go back to the classic of Jurassic Park, there's like less than 100 effect shots in that movie, and most of them, by and large, hold up quite well. I think the introduction of the Brachiosaurus is one of the few ones that don't quite hold up as well, but everything else is really, really convincing. And that's because they spent, a couple of years on each of those shots. Where today, especially if you're working for Disney, you're working on those shots as the script is being written, and by the time you're done your shot to go through all the rendering process to make it look as convincing as possible, you find out that scene that you're working on has been cut from the film, and that you've been assigned a brand new scene. So now you're starting all over from scratch again. And if you don't commission the proper plates that you need to mix in, to composite in with your film, you end up having Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. and it just doesn't look, there's just nothing fun or authentic about it. It doesn't have that convincing attitude that's needed. And that comes down to crunch time. And it's pretty sad, because I guarantee you, if we were still having some discipline and only having, sub 100 effect shots in a film, I don't think anyone would ever complain about CG.
No. By the way, real quick, our friend Crouching Taylor Hidden Swift has been very patient. I'd like to apologize.
Oh yeah, let's talk with him.
My last 12 of 13 movie theater trips have been music-related special events. Only real movie in there was Spider-Man 2.
Oh wow.
I missed out on the re-release of the Raimi Spider-Man movies, but I was there when they first were released. I think what I've been trying to do, Crouching Taylor Hidden Swift, is stuff that I was too young to see or just for some reason missed, like Batman and Batman Returns. I was too young, and it's just too young for both of them. But those special event stuff, like the Fathom events, those always look fun. I've always wanted to go see. I think they were doing Spamalot once.
Yeah, they did that a while back. Spamalot's a lot of fun.
When I was in college, they were doing it not at Michigan State, but a theater company was coming through to the Wharton Center, and they played the Spamalot commercial. I swear to God, I saw the Always Look on the Bright Side of Life commercial 200 times in one semester. I was like going nuts. I hate repetition. Like, I don't know if you watch a lot of like streaming based television. I don't mean streaming shows. Like, I'll put on like a Pluto or one of these ones that'll just play like a channel just for background.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen the same damn commercials. And they'll do it like 4 times in a row. This one about I am Anna and these are my breasts. It's about her breast cancer and all this stuff. They'll play it. Then they'll play it again. Then they'll play a slight variation. Then they'll play the original one again. Like it's that commercial. It's last year it was Sky Rizzy. Then it was something else. Then it was something else. Like I understand why that it's programmed like that. I just wanted to say I hate it, like with a passion. Have you noticed any of that?
I've noticed that there's been a lack of creativity in commercial advertisements for the last 7 or 8 years. No, there's been nothing fun anymore. Yeah, I've noticed that. I try to like put on like I'll go to like Pluto and I'll throw on some like random stuff, and then you'll get like various commercials in between. And what I've noticed is that the commercials don't capture my attention the way that commercials are supposed to do. And I've always been really upset because the algorithm never picks up on the stuff that I need, because what I need doesn't exist. I'll say I need this weird thing, and I'm hoping that it's been made somewhere, and that all the monitoring, the spying that Amazon and all those other companies are doing will direct me to an ad that'll get exactly what I want, and it just is never there. And I gotta fabricate it with my 3D printer or reach out to people that I know who make custom things and say, hey, can you make this for me? And it bothers me. But yeah, like I there's that commercial. I've seen that one, the hi, Amanda, these are my breasts things. What was the other one that I saw recently? I've seen a lot of like drug ads recently on some of the streaming channels. That one bothered me a lot. A lot of like, pharmaceutical, take this pill if you got restless leg syndrome type of stuff. Like I'm shocked because I'm like, they're still making these commercials the exact same way for the last 25 years.
Oh yeah. Try turning on The Price is Right here in America. That's all the ads are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, on terrestrial television in Canada, it's where you're prohibited from advertising pharmaceuticals.
Oh my God, you are so lucky. All I see are drug ads every day. All the time. That and insurance. It's like, I get it. Old people watch television. I get the net. But for the love of God, like, can I at least see like a Chevrolet commercial or something? Just something that like would appeal to me before I'm ready for retirement.
Yeah, I think the only commercial, like the heavy American commercials I get are like personal injury lawyers. So like Celino and Barnes, I remember those guys popping up on Canadian television a lot. I was like, they wouldn't represent us up here. But yeah, that's the crazy stuff. Like there's no toy commercials anymore. Restaurant commercials are few and far between, which is tragic. There's tons for like Skip It and Uber Eats, like anything that's like delivering to your home. Those are the commercials that I see a lot. And it's like, yeah, those are antisocial commercials.
I was about to say, it feels like whoever is making these commercials wants you to stay at home. There's my tinfoil sombrero, but
Yeah, listen, man, I love my home. My home is awesome, but I do like to go outside because in Canada we don't get much sun. So when the summer hits, it's like I need to get a tan and collect up as much vitamin D as I can, not naturally. Because I have to store that in the winter when it's dark at 3:00 in the afternoon.
I don't know. So that sounds kind of lovely. A 3:00 sunset.
You always
tired.
catch it.
Yeah, I was about to say. You're just coming back from lunch in some cases.
Yeah, and sometimes, yeah, it is. So I mean, yeah, like our media is changing, and part of me is wondering, like, are we going to go the ways of Star Trek, where there isn't really going to be film and television the way that we consume it, and we're just going to find other things to do? And I'm hoping that whatever does replace it becomes as socially interactive as what film used to be. Because even though it's really hard to meet someone while you're watching the movie, you can definitely meet them like after the fact to talk about it. And then that's a cool social event, and you can make some good friends out there. And that's what I was able to do when I was in high school and college. And when I would go out to LA to a premiere, I'd meet people afterwards to talk about the film that we just saw, whether we liked it or hated it. And, that's the real community aspect of it. And you don't get that when you're with the streaming at home. You don't get that when you don't have, places to go anymore. Like there's no malls really. Parks, most people use just for walking their pets. Like kids don't play in parks anymore. They don't really want to. They're on their screens. And
people use Starbucks just for drive-through.
Yeah, there's Starbucks for drive-through. Heck, there's coffee shops where they get more traffic for people that just plug in their laptops to work at the coffee shop just so that they don't have to be at home for whatever reason. And they're there 8 hours a day with the same staff. And it's funny because like we're trying to set up an office in downtown Toronto for the company I'm working at. And we go around the corner to one of the coffee shops. And what's funny is that the people who work at the coffee shop feel like a couple of the patrons that are there work with them too, because they're there for the opening hours and closing hours at the shop because they're on their laptop using their Wi-Fi, drinking coffee, buying snacks for breakfast, lunch, and something right before dinner. And then once 5:00 hits and the coffee shop's like going to close down, they're like, yep, done work for the day, going back home. See you guys tomorrow. And it's just the weirdest dynamic.
Maybe it's one of those situations where they like can't work at home because of the distraction.
Maybe.
Because I find in the beginning of doing what I do now, man, it would be easy to get distracted. Now it's just like, all right, I guess I have to buckle down, and then I just do it.
Yeah, but we're fortunate enough to come close enough into a generation where we've had to like discipline ourselves. It's like, oh, we have something really important we have to do. Maybe I should just direct my focus here and not get so quickly distracted by something on the internet. And
Back when you had to log in and do extra steps, it just wasn't there with you all the time.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, that's one of the things. Like when I write, I throw on some music and then I just kind of get lost in my writing until I'm done. And then once I'm done there, I have to spend the rest of my day catching up on the 1,000 emails and chat messages that have been sent my way to that of responsibilities I have to do. And if I didn't do it that way, I'd never get any writing done. And yeah, that's for me. And I completely understand when it comes to some other people who work remotely or they go out to the coffee shops to do their work there. Like, they're still on the device that could help distract them. But for whatever reason in that environment, they're able to get their work done.
Maybe the barista will yell at them. It's like an extra, you tip them early. It's like, look, if you catch me slipping, yell. You have my full permission. Just call me out on my shit.
that they're not paid extra for that. So you got to tip them more.
Yeah. I have a local coffee chain. Their stuff's legit. So I'll go there just because I like their service or their food, but the people are nice too. I just don't hang out in coffee shops. It's just something that was a little older than people my age did. Like, we just didn't do it. It's like,
yep.
Oh, let's go to the movie or let's play video games or something.
We had like an arcade. That was cool. Like, you go pump some quarters into a few machines and play some games for an hour or two and then head out.
I was lucky. I had a mom who spoiled me, so I always had like the game that people wanted to play. So I'd be like, all right, so-and-so, come on over. I got Soul Calibur 2 or the new Smash Brothers or some shit like that. And then I got into my wrestling games, and so I just only bought wrestling games. Nobody cared about those.
Well, they had a different way of playing compared to other games.
Yeah. Also, I got really good at those, and so it's just not fun for other people to play because it's, oh, I'm going to hit you with this move. No, you're not. I'm going to reverse everything you do and then beat you. And then
see, at that point, you could have come up with like a wrestling school, video game wrestling school.
Yeah, I'm going to start. Hey, it's not too late. I'll put it on Twitch.
Yeah.
All right, folks. I'm going to teach you how to count the animation frames. All right. So when they're going in for the grab, at this point is when you want to press Y. Like, I could do that shit. I used to be able to. I could actually play it where I was like untouchable. My buddy Phil hates. He's like, I'll never play a match with you. So there's my glory days, folks. I never wanted to be a real pro wrestler, but I was almost a pro wrestling video game professional, which didn't even exist back then.
No, but I mean, I'm pretty sure somewhere out there's a way you can make money playing wrestling video games professionally in tournaments, because there's tournaments for all sorts of video games these days. Esports, right? That's what they call them.
Oh yeah.
Man, I'm old.
Don't talk too much trash. You and I are just a few years apart. I don't want to feel that old.
No, yeah, I guess that's the case. Yeah. Fortunately, I mean, I still feel young enough at heart for that way. Fortunately for me, like what we had here from Crouching Taylor Hidden Swift, I do not require Viagra, and I'm pretty sure I won't have to for quite some time.
It's nice to not need that. That's all.
Yeah, it's nice for me to not need any medication. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. Knock on wood. I feel pretty good. I fucking yawn. Excuse me, folks. That's so rude.
Well, maybe we should probably call it.
Yeah, it's almost midnight, but more people keep rolling in. It's just like, hey, what's this show about?
Dude, I am so happy that more people are rolling in, because this is like one of the best shows on the interwebs that we got here, because it's just shooting the breeze, talking about fun stuff, fun stories. Yeah, there's some good commentary and analysis, but overall, it's really just kind of like hanging out at a digital bar.
There you go.
Sorts. Yeah.
Maybe I need to up the production of the show and make us like in StreamYards, like a bar. You know, we're just kind of hanging out at the bar. Maybe I'll make a digital avatar of me or something. I don't mind being on camera. I just, not today, folks. I told the guys behind the scenes between the break-in that I had to deal with and all the other shit, and my wheel fell off my car. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, so I'm just ready to have nothing important happen to me.
Yeah, as I said, it's best to get all the bad stuff out at the start of the year. That way you can enjoy the rest of the good rest of the year without much hassle. Yeah, I like again. Poor Andrew's not here because he's sick. He's dealing with the same head cold that I had last week, so I'm hoping he recovers quickly for that. Because I miss him having around, miss him here, miss having him here. I am getting tired and I can't string words together.
That's the sign. It's like either I'm broken, I need a factory reset, or bedtime.
Yeah,
so
it's one of those two.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the old man who says I'm gonna go to bed at midnight because I'm yawning again. I am so sorry, folks. I do not want. You know what? Actually, I'm not sorry. Yawning's contagious. It's midnight. It's time to go to bed. Get up, have a fresh start tomorrow. Have a healthy breakfast, or if you fast, just wait till lunchtime. Eat some good fats and be excellent to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, but folks, thank you for watching. If you guys continue to support us like this, we'll be able to continue to do more stuff like this. It's all about retention in the algorithm. I know it's boring crap. I know you don't want to hear how the sausage is made. All I'm trying to give you is the honest answer is we need you guys to watch us live because basically it'll propel us upwards. And the more we get people watching live, the more we can do stuff and it'll help us out. So tonight was an awesome night. Thank you to everybody who joined us. Hang out with us next week. And also, too, if you ever want us to talk about specific things, but you're old school and you don't feel like getting involved in the chat, we have an email. It's info@worldclassbullshitters.com. You can email me anytime. I run everything on the channel, so I'm always a little behind on the emails. I apologize if I haven't gotten back to you yet, but I always do respond. And just tell us what you want to see. Also, get involved in the polls. Hang out with us on social media. And we have our Oscar Lampoon party. That's our next big event. So it'll be a WCBS drinking stream. It'll be a fun, sloppy time where we make fun of Hollywood's biggest night. Every year, some people think, why are you guys celebrating the Oscars? We're not. We're making fun of them. We have drinking games for the speeches, the agenda stuff, all that good crap. We're here to do that. So join us in what is it, March 6th or something is the Oscars?
March 6th is the Oscars. And in that time, leave a comment of a various celebrity that has passed away that we can ask if Andrew knows they have died or not.
Yes. Next week, folks, you should ask if Carol O'Connor has died. And Andrew will go, who is Carol O'Connor? And I'll go, you are fucking fired. Like, come on, man. Like, In the Heat of the Night was on when we were alive.
There's
it was a big show.
Great show. Then on top, I mean, it got All in the Family, Archie's Place.
We don't talk about Archie's Place.
We don't talk about Archie's Place.
It's slightly better than Pryor's Place, but that's not a very high bar.
Right. But yeah, no. God, so many great. I mean, this has been we're at that point where some of the actors that we grew up watching are checking out.
A lot of people, like, we're at that point, like you said, and it's just going to keep getting worse. That's all.
It keeps getting worse because there's no one to succeed them, not in the frequency that we're accustomed to. I mean, what, Glenn Powell? Like, really? I mean, I like him, but he's not up there with some of the greats yet.
No. When he dies, I'll be really nervous because we're the exact same age. So, like, oh shit, am I next? Like, I'll be looking around like, oh God, no. But yeah, folks, thank you for hanging out with us. And we will go to bed. Not because Jamie Jackson told us, but because it's that time of day. And apparently, Script, we're so old. Did your knees pop yet? I mean, oh man.
No. I only have gray in my beard, not in my hair, and which is funny because I saw on my commute home an interview with Stephen Amell, of like Arrow fame, and he's got silver hair now.
Oh wow!
And he's only a couple years older than me.
He might. He was a pretty good wrestler. If you ever watch his SummerSlam match, you'll be surprised that an actor put that much effort into it.
Oh yeah, and then the heel show that he did, that was a solid show.
I need to watch it, man. You've been preaching that one for a couple of years, so I have no one to blame but myself.
It's all right, man. It's now preserved in history. So, even though it does end on something of a cliffhanger, at least you have the satisfaction knowing it's never coming back.
Yeah, but then there's Glow, where I wanted it to come back.
Yeah, that Glow had some fun to it.
Well, I'll just write my own Glow fan fiction, folks. If you want to read my Glow fan fiction, which will be narrated by me, because who else will there be? I'll put it on Patreon, patreon.com/worldclassbs. And if you really want your Glow fan fiction, shoot us an email at info@worldclassbullshitters.com. But until next time, folks, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.
.com.
Yes, he did it. And now, folks, here goes a nice outro for you.
Yeah, that's nice.
Go ahead and scream your head off. We're miles from where anyone can hear you.